Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of General Geekery. Actually, this is one of our spin-off shows, one of our spotlight shows. We still need like some catchy, clever name for that I still haven't sat down to figure out. But if you watched the last spin-off show, it was where JD and I highlighted every version of the Alley Viper that came out. And today, JD and I and our special guest, Chad, Articulated Chad, are going to highlight every version of the HISS tank that came out. And my God, there's a lot of them. And holy shit, there's a lot of cool ones too. I was having a conversation with Chad before the show about how, I'm not the biggest HISS tank fan, but then it's like, yeah, you know what? There's a lot of fucking cool stuff out there. So,
In fact, one of them is so cool, it's actually an Arctic hiss.
exactly. So with me, as always, is JD, and
Hello.
joining us today is Articulated Chad. Chad, thanks for being on the show with us, man.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
As soon as we decided that this was going to be the subject of our second spotlight episode, I told Brian I was going to invite Articulated Chad because he's as big a nerd for the HISS tanks as I am. In fact, he might be a bigger nerd for HISS tanks than I am.
I didn't think that was possible.
Neither did I, but I've been shown the light. In fact, that light has cast a ray of green jealousy on my eyes over some of the ones that he has.
I'm going to try and fix the white balance in post-production to make JD not look so green, but no promises.
Do I look green?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. I'm green. I mean, Jesus, and I'm not even a big, because Chad and I were talking, and I was like, I had the very first HISS version when I was a kid, and that was enough for me. But yeah, and then I got a couple of the 25th version ones, and a couple of the Pursue the Cobra ones, and then a couple of the convention ones, and then
like you do.
Yeah, and then I've got more HISS tanks than I thought I had. So JD's going to start us off with the HISS, the original HISS.
While I don't have a 1983 HISS, I do have a retro version, which is almost a perfect recreation of it. The retro release from 2020, the Walmart exclusive, it recreates the original HISS in a way that even the 25th version doesn't even match. I mean, again, this is the retro release, but it's gorgeous. It's just as pretty as the original HISS was, with slightly better stickers.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the stickers when I got my Stinger out yesterday.
But I mean, the classic cannons, the impractical but eye-catching clear plastic canopy. There's a reason why this design. There's many reasons this design has stood the test of time and been updated so many times, because it's a question of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if you found a way to improve on it every once in a while, sure, we'll go that direction. But they always go back to the classic.
Yeah, it's a great vehicle. It's two wedge shapes. Like, you can't go wrong with it.
Right?
Exactly. It's a simplistic design that had such an impact that I cannot imagine the vintage Joe toy line had the HISS tank not happened, because it led to a lot of creative Cobra vehicles that may not have happened had they not gone way outside the box and created a tank that looked nothing like anything that had ever existed in the real world.
And I can't, I think it is one of the most iconic vehicles of the line, especially for Cobra. I mean, you think of Cobra and immediately HISS tank is one of the first things that comes to mind, even for me.
I remember if I boil down vintage Cobra to the most iconic imagery, I think of the Cobra Rattler jet, the Cobra HISS tank, and the Cobra the Trouble Bubble. Yes, those are the three most Cobra vehicles, and they've stood at those designs have all stood the test of time. And again, they've been updated many, many times. And I'm glad. I mean, the Hiss tank, the original Hiss, is so iconic that the very first large vehicle release they're doing in the classified line is a Cobra HISS tank,
Yeah.
which I unfortunately could not back, and nothing breaks my heart more than that.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and
way too
and
for me.
the Hiss tank and other designs like the Treble Bubble and the Claw, et cetera, they all speak to the whole future forward designs of Mars Industries. So
Agreed.
just looking at a Hiss tank, when you look at it, you're like, it's completely out of the norm of any other military type vehicle. So it really set that standard of, you know, Destro and Mars Industry has a leg up on GI Joe, and like GI Joe has cunning and they have all that other stuff, but Mars Industries has the technological
right.
advantage.
They have bleeding edge technology.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right about that, because I've never actually thought about it in those terms, but you're right, because if you look at the Hiss tank, which Mars Industries designed and sold to Cobra, and you think of all of the Iron Grenadier vehicles that were launched after Destro said "fuck you" to Cobra Commander and started his own army, and the Razorback and the Demon and uh the Dominator, you can see that their seed of design all started from the Hiss tank and sprang forward from there.
The AGP, I think, even fits into that pretty well.
Yeah, you're right. It's got an odd shape and it's impractical and it's eye-catching.
It's like a Treble Bubble and a Hiss tank screwed, and that was the kid.
And yes, yeah, I can't put it any better than that. That's fantastic. But I've never thought of it. You're right. It's got all the iconography of Mars Industries.
Yeah, the Razorback. I've got one that I was going to customize, but everybody's customized it the same way, so I'm like, so it's sitting on my workbench.
Yeah, there's one crazy vehicle. It's cool.
Yeah, there's one I've never owned. But yeah, I mean, all the hallmarks, the exaggerated design, but I feel like it spun off into the Razorback too. So
exaggerated design is perfect for the description of the next vehicle, which is the Cobra HISS 2, which I remember seeing as a kid. I'm like, I already have a HISS tank. What do I need another HISS tank for? And I recently got a HISS 2, and it was one that I've passed on as an adult collector for a long time because I've never held one. So I always looked at it and thought, man, that thing looks brittle as fuck. But I finally got one recently, and it uses the softer plastic. So it's actually super durable, super playable. And man, I love this thing. When I was a kid, I took the turret off of my HISS tank and would load it full of gear to the point I almost couldn't get the turret back in. But they like read my mind and made it so that you could get stuff in the HISS 2. And man, yeah, I love this vehicle.
This drop down cockpit is such an awesome design,
right?
Like, I love it. I love everything about this vehicle.
Yeah, because if you look at the design, the original design sketches for the Hiss, for the first Hiss
cockpit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It had and they couldn't integrate it for the 83 release, but they brought it back for the 89 release of the Hiss 2.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know about until I read Dan Klingensmith's Creating G.I. Joe book series. And there's the design sketch with the drop-down cockpit for the original Hiss. But mine has custom painted darker red cannons. That the red didn't bother me when I was a kid, but as an adult, it's just such a bright red that it kind of offset me. Although now I actually kind of wish that I had a bright red version too.
This is one I would be happy to have like 2 or 3 more of just to customize.
I mean, and the red canopy is nice. Like it again, it's the plastic canopy, the see-through canopy of the original, but done in red. And unlike the version 1, this can hold 2 drivers.
Just gonna say it's a 2-person vehicle.
And
I know I don't think JD's a big fan, but I like the Track Viper.
I hate the track.
Yeah.
The only version of the Track Viper I ever liked is a custom by some guy named Articulated Chad that I saw.
I don't know
that
that
is the
I've seen that.
he
I've
he
seen
took
somebody did one recently, but I don't know if
This guy right here.
that guy. Yes,
Yes.
he took
Yeah.
all the design elements that
Yeah, no, I
worked
love
on
that.
the hit
That's
too.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I greebled that helmet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is the helmet from?
Halo. It looks like.
No, that's actually that's web gear. If you
Okay.
look at the face, it's web gear that I greebled into the ridges of his helmet.
Nice.
Yeah. And then that's actually like that's tubing that I put around his legs.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I've used tubing on some of my customs. It's a handy trick.
He's so good.
I'm
The
working
Track
on a
Viper,
female Track Viper, but I haven't gotten very far. I've got the unmasked head somewhere. That's where it is.
the Track Viper, if you look at again in Dan Klingensmith's book, he's got the design sketches, the original presentation painting for the Track Viper. And while the design isn't drastically different from the figure that was produced, it shows that it had a lot of potential in all the details, but then they made a gawky looking figure that I can't get past it.
I love it. I think it's fantastic.
But yeah, Chad's custom took all those cool design features and actually made it look, I don't know, like a human is wearing it.
I had to update that helmet.
Yeah, and when they repainted it as the Nitro Viper, it drove me nuts too. I'm like, oh, same gawky figure, now in cooler colors. So, but the Hiss 2, I had one when I was a kid. This is not mine from when I was a kid. I did have one when I was a kid. And I bought this one on eBay probably 10 years ago just so I could repaint it. And it reminded me why I liked the vehicle so much in the first place.
Yeah, it's a real quality vehicle.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm glad I finally have one. I hemmed and hawed about it, but I'm like, yeah, I got an opportunity to get one. I'll get it. And yeah, I think out of all the stuff, and I got a lot of stuff because I traded my second flag to a buddy of mine for a bunch of stuff. I think out of all the stuff I got, the Hiss 2 is like my favorite piece out of that.
Yeah, it's got a lot of playability. It's a very toyetic vehicle.
Yeah, and like I said, it's that softer plastic, so you don't have to worry about breaking tabs on stuff, which is the main reason I avoided it for so long, because it just looked brittle. I'm like, if it's made from the same hard plastic the Hiss one is, it's like, I don't want to, but it's not. It's made from that softer plastic, and I talked about that on my review yesterday of the Stinger, the retro Stinger, because it's made of that softer plastic too, and it feels cheap, but it's not. It's gonna last. It's gonna stand the test of time, and it's gonna be playable, which I think is a huge bonus.
I haven't gotten my retro Stinger yet, so because I'm all the way like toward the West Coast, and so I see everybody else getting theirs, and I looked at mine, and it was like, oh, you'll get yours Tuesday, and I'm like, oh, boo.
Yeah. No, I'm in Colorado, so I think I got mine. So you should be next then.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
His Megatron should be here tomorrow.
So I was just gonna say, so speaking of brittle and feeling cheap, that Megatron Hiss has a couple pieces that feel like they just want to snap.
Yikes. Well,
I mean, it's pretty awesome. For a Hiss tank, it's awesome. For Megatron, he's awkward and kind of imbalanced with that shopping cart on his back, but as a Hiss tank, I dig it.
I love the idea of that release. When it was announced, I'm like, it just seemed like a perfect melding of two properties that in the minds of a lot of fans, and even somewhat unofficially, they've always been interconnected.
Yep.
But I had to cancel my pre-order for financial reasons. And so at some point I will get one, but I will watch out for the brittleness of it.
Well, at least they released it right. Like you could just go on Amazon and get one.
Right.
It's not like, oh, they're sold out and all this other crap like you see with the other Joe stuff lately.
Right. Which is why
ridiculous.
I'll go back and get one right now. It is overpriced. Which is part of the reason. But again, it uses the Hiss 1 design and makes it Megatron. The next vintage release was not officially called a Hiss Tank, but it was on the body of a Hiss Tank with a brand new canopy and a new, really huge, water squirting, goofy cannon. It's the Cobra Septic Tank from the Eco Warriors line, released in 1991. My version is a vintage Hiss Tank. I mean, it's a vintage septic tank, but it's got the repro stickers from Toy Hacks. But
I
this,
do like that.
what's that?
I do like that.
Yeah. I mean, Toy Hacks recreated the original sticker sheet and added some more custom stickers, but it fixes, because 1991 was about the time they started using cheaper decals, and the one that this
paper.
Yeah, this one that I bought, yeah, that's right, they were paper, which is really goofy for a vehicle that's supposed to shoot water. Why are you using paper stickers? That's just, but when I bought my septic tank a few years ago off eBay, it was in like new condition and never had stickers applied to it, so I didn't have to clean the residue off and all that crap. But
you lucked out.
It is loud, it is eye-catching, it is gaudy, it is possibly rightfully hated by many early Joe collectors, but
yeah,
I love the 1990 stuff, the 1990 through 94 stuff, the neon, the bright colors. I love all of it, most of it. All right, there's some shitty things in there, but not that many. But this thing is beautiful. I love
I did a custom
this
driver for that
vehicle. Yes, I made a custom driver for mine, a modern style Eco Warriors Rip It.
Yeah.
I found the ugliest colors I could find. And then Brian later made an Eco Warriors Rip It in yellow and black that he sent to me. He surprised me with it. I didn't expect to get it. I opened it and there it was on a card, and I'm like, ooh, I like this one even better than mine.
Yeah,
the Cobra Septic Tank,
man. That's a double-sided card. It came out pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with that.
Oh, it did. And I love it, and it's hanging on my wall on display upstairs, along with all the other custom carded figures you've made for me. But now I don't have. There was a follow-up to the septic tank that was released as a convention exclusive by the GI Joe Collectors Club, which Chad has one, and he showed us before we started recording, and I'm just jealous. It's a DTC Hiss, but it's obnoxious. I love it.
Yeah. It's the it's the con exclusive septic tank.
Someday I would like to own one, but I simply will not donate any organs or sell them on the black market to obtain the money to get one of those.
The repulsor figure is on that same list for me because it's a Toxo Viper Commander. So as a specialty Viper collector, it's on my list.
Sludge Viper. Sludge Viper.
Sludge Viper Commander? I could have sworn it was Toxo Viper Commander.
Sludge Viper.
All right.
It was as close to a modern rendition of the Sludge Viper that we actually got. And when I looked at that one on eBay last year, there were two listed on eBay. The cheapest one was $180 in the baggie, and the more expensive one was a whopping $250. I'm like, are they kidding me? It's not made of gold.
The prices on those convention figures are ridiculous. That's all we have left for specialty Vipers is a couple of Python Patrol from the Python Patrol release, and then that Sludge Viper Commander.
That's where I'm at for the entire modern run, is just FSS and con stuff, and a lot of it's like repaints and kit bashes, and half of them I want, half of them I don't. They're all super expensive.
Yeah, they're all super expensive, and half of them aren't good enough kit bashes to justify it.
No,
characters
they all have
that
that same shitty web gear.
Yeah.
and characters that for years collectors have bemoaned and hated on, like Crystal Ball from the vintage line. The modern one that they did in the figure subscription service goes for an arm and a leg. So
Yeah,
for a character that
are the Python Patrol Televiper, and that Televiper is not a good figure.
no, it's
Yeah.
you mean the one with the green and silver? Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. No, there's a parachute one and the parachute drop figure, and then just the regular one, and yeah, it's the 25th anniversary version of the Televiper was not a decent figure.
No,
and then that
Bad, but
that modern interrogator looks like crap too.
does it?
Like it doesn't look anywhere near as good as the original interrogator.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right,
Next HISS tank.
Yeah, the next HISS tank is probably one of JD's favorite because it has his favorite character in it.
Not favorite, one of my favorites. It's I have a weird tendency to go after the really obscure one and done characters and latch onto them. Sometimes it's a file card detail. And sometimes it's simply because they're so overlooked and so forgotten about because they're so goofy or forgettable in general that it will endear me to them. Well, the 2000 release of the Cobra, they called it the HISS 3.
It's 3.
It was actually a grayish blue repaint, recolor of the HISS, the original HISS. I don't have mine. I lost it some years ago, and last year when I was going to buy a new one, I couldn't find one for a decent price that wasn't missing a canopy or something. I'm like, are you kidding me? No. So I'll get one someday. But it included a repaint of the original HISS driver, which was a bright red. He stood out from the rest of the Cobra forces because he was bright red.
Yeah, at the time.
But the HISS 3 included a blue repaint, and instead of making it another HISS driver, they made it a named character called Rip It. There are jokes that people can make about the code name, but I don't care. I like it.
And see, anybody that spent some time in Afghanistan, Rip It has a completely different meaning.
I freaking love Rip Its. You can still get them at the dollar store.
What?
But you don't get the little cans, you get the big cans.
Oh, I didn't even know it came in big cans.
Go to Dollar Tree. They have them in the big, like 16-ounce cans at Dollar Tree.
Oh,
I get them all
the hell is a Rip It?
You don't know what a Rip It is?
No, what the hell are you guys talking about?
They're so good. Rip It.
I'm not worldly. I've never left the US, so I have no idea what this is. What is it? An energy drink?
Energy drink that was available in the not in the PX. They had it. We didn't have to buy it in the DFAC.
We had connexes full of them.
Oh man.
When I just got back from East Africa in 2020, we spent all of 2020 in East Africa. We had whole connexes full of Rip Its. Now, the Army didn't have that. The Air Force had it, but we just went and took the shit from the Air Force. But
yeah,
they just had connexes and connexes. And JD, they were little cans like this. They were like 6 ounces. I don't know, maybe 8, but they were just little fat cans. And they have like orange, blue, red. You know, they're supposed to be flavors. It all tastes the same.
I was gonna say it all tastes the same. They just change.
Yeah, they just Rip It. You
we
just pound them. You just go on patrol
like Mountain Dew.
Yeah, yeah, kind of.
And if you got lucky, you could get the red one that sort of was supposed to taste like Hawaiian Punch, but and then the blue one which tasted like battery acid.
But they all had that little familiar burn to them. Like when you drink them, you're like, okay, you Rip It.
Yep.
I've seen lots of energy drinks on shelves, but I don't think I've ever noticed one at Dollar Tree called Rip It. Now I'm gonna have to go look.
Go to the Dollar Tree and look for Rip It.
Yeah, now I have to go looking for it. In fact, just as a joke, I'll buy one for my Rip It collection.
Absolutely.
One of the details on Rip It's file card that endeared me to him is that for some reason, Cobra made him start playing golf. All right. So he's a golf player that it was supposed to somehow walking around the course, following this little ball around was supposed to make him more precise at driving a tank. I don't know what the connection is. I have no idea.
So it was supposed to improve its focus or something like that, I think.
Right. It was something
That's
like
a
that.
pretty dog you got there.
Thank you. That's Jack.
Is that Jack? Okay.
I'm surprised he's down here.
All I see is a gray back, so I wasn't sure which one. There's Jack and there's Izzy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's Jack. Yeah, hi. He came down looking for watermelon. That's his favorite. That's his favorite
JD,
snack.
Did you get the retro version of that?
Oh, absolutely. Cool. In fact, mine I customized mine. But
and I think I got mine from you, didn't you? Didn't you?
Yeah, I bought the second one last year. And I, as a Christmas gift, I sent Brian the retro Rip It because he didn't want to buy the tank, but I just shared Rip It.
But I wanted to Rip It.
Yeah. But Rip It, again, the absurdity of the idea of Cobra making him play golf to have him drive a tank, I don't care. It's so dumb that I can't help but love it. For the same reason why I like dumb movies that don't take themselves seriously.
I did a
Rip It
golf bag for JD.
Oh, I'm getting to that. Rip It came with the Hiss 3, and he endeared. I there's something about that character that endeared me so much that I am now on my 4th custom version of Rip It that I have made over the years. The very first one that I did was a Real American Hero version, but I just used different parts because I wanted to differentiate him from looking like a Hiss driver. I don't have that custom anymore. The second one I had was a 25th anniversary version that I replicated the original with modern parts. And there is a golf bag that Brian designed for me. I have it right here. Hang on.
Man, I did that. That's probably more than 10 years ago that I did that.
It would be 12 years.
Jesus.
Because I was still living at the other house. This is Rip It version 3 that I made. He's unhelmeted.
I love that.
He's
head.
got
I think that
there is something about Rip It to me that he always has to have a mustache. I imagine him as like a NASCAR driver like Dale Earnhardt, and he always has a mustache in my head. So all of the unhelmeted versions, yes, they all have mustaches. All the best G.I. Joe drivers, though, from the 80s, they all had mustaches, So this is the golf bag that Brian made for me. Brian, what the hell did you make this thing out of?
It's Avs epoxy sculpt.
Okay, and it's got a holster, functional holster with the. Wait a minute. Yeah, pistol comes out of the holster. He's got grenades attached to it. The golf clubs at the time, because I couldn't find anything in the scale, they're Jedi lightsabers that I just modified to make into golf clubs. I take this very seriously in a completely absurd sort of way. But his helmet, because he has to have a helmet to make him look like a Hiss driver, but it's a Star Wars Y-wing pilot helmet. But I wanted him to look. He's got to maintain that he can be a Hiss driver, but he's not. Because in my mind, he's not just a Hiss commander. In my Joverse, he's the commander of Cobra's entire armored tank division, like all the maggots, the Hiss tanks, all of their armor, the stuns. He's their supreme. He's their go-to guy. But yeah, that is. I used the DTC Hiss. I called it the golf cart. On the back, he's got a custom message that said "Back off, asshole driver." Warning.
With the Dale Earnhardt number 3.
Yes, number 3 for Dale Earnhardt. Yes, apparently in my mind he's some kind of a hero to him. I'm not sure. Again, the golf thing, the NASCAR thing, there's no connection, but there it is in my head. My mind works in strange ways.
I bought a bunch of those cheapo Poe Dameron figures with the removable helmets for that exact purpose. Just repaint the helmets and just use them for whatever.
Why didn't I ever think of that? Well, now I'm annoyed.
Yeah, you can get them super cheap. That white carded Poe Dameron. I
Yeah.
got a bunch of those. I got a bunch of
really?
the General Huxes too, because you
Yeah.
can use those for
I've been using
all sorts of
Huxes for the coats.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Brian, didn't you just get? Yeah, I would say you just got a couple of Huxes that you used that because you wanted the jackets.
What did I use that for? I don't even remember.
But okay, so the original Hiss 3 from 2000, I don't have mine.
Mindbender. I did the lab coat Dr. Mindbender custom.
Oh, that's right. That's right, because you bought a Hux. You're like, I need it for the coat. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you're not gonna find a better coat in the scale for it.
No,
but
I used it on my Dr.
So
the 4-inch Nick Fury has a good coat too.
He does have a good coat. I forgot about that. I have one of those figures. In fact, no. I have one of the Avengers release ones from a cartoon. He's in blue and the white with the black trench coat. And then there's another one from the movies that I forgot about that. Now, I don't have my 2000 Hiss 3, but I do have the retro release of it from last year. Mine has custom cannons on it, and I put the treads from a Mobat over it just because I wanted it to have some dimensionality to it. They don't move, but yeah, I had a Mobat that I cannibalized the treads off of just because I wanted to give it some.
In your trunk for like 5 years.
The what?
Was that the one that was sitting in your trunk for like 5 years?
Okay, it was over a year, and yes. Ryan and I have been friends for a long time, and we've got a lot of inside jokes. Yeah. The first time he came to visit me, him and his wife, I was putting their bags from the airport in my truck, and there was a Mobat sitting back there. He's like, "What are you gonna do with that?" I'm like, "It's been in here for a while." So, yes, I had it sitting around for more than a decade, and yes, I finally used the treads off of it last year for my retro Hiss 3. This is a much darker blue than the 2000 release was, but it's closer to being a legitimate, like an iconic Cobra blue, and I kind of prefer it. And this is why the cannons I took off of a Masters of the Universe vehicle. The vehicle, I can't remember the name of it. I bought it on clearance from Target because it included Prince Adam, and I bought it for Prince Adam. The vehicle was stupid. So now look, I love Masters of the Universe and I love some of the vehicles, but whatever that one was, I didn't.
Isn't it the Wind Raider?
No, it wasn't the Wind Raider. It was like a little hover speeder bike thing. It was goofy. But yeah, so I took the cannons off of it and I gave it to Rip Hiss 3. Oh yeah, here he is. Yeah, here's my retro Rip It. Yeah. Wow, he was actually sitting in the vehicle where he belongs. Weird. I'm not usually that organized.
Flag.
But yeah, the Hiss 3, I was actually a big fan of it. And at some point I'm going to replace the original one that I had, but until the secondary market implodes and the prices come back down on things, it'll be a while.
Yeah, understandable. So that that came out in 2000. So the next one came out in 2002, and that was the first Crimson Hiss Tank.
And that is the one that I had, or I thought that I had. I thought I bought one off eBay like 10 years ago, but I can't find it. So either I no longer have it, or it is just someplace that I didn't look at. I mean, it's a straight up Hiss Tank. Again, it's just a repaint. It's bright red. It's nothing in particular, nothing special. I'm not a huge fan of the Crimson. I like the concept, but I don't like the idea of the Crimson Guard needing their own armament that's all red. But so I don't have a Crimson Hiss to show, and I'm kind of sad about that now.
And it didn't come with any like special, like Why did I think that came with like an MMS or something like
It
that?
did. It did. It came with yeah, it came with a. I think it came with the repaint of the MMS.
Okay.
And
There you
the or am I thinking of a different
No,
release?
that's a different one.
Yeah.
Okay, because
That is the 2008 version, I think.
Of
oh,
the
okay.
Crimson Hiss, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, because when we edit when Brian edits this, he can pop a picture up of the Crimson Hiss.
Yeah, the Crimson Strike, right? Because it's a Crimson Strike Hiss, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Um
It is Crimson Strike.
Yeah.
yeah. Um
Arctic Hiss.
yeah. I have one of those. Wait, what year was that released? 2009.
Yeah. So
Um
next one is on the list is not exactly a fan favorite, although I kind of like it and wish I'd had one for a couple of them for custom. That's the Hiss 5.
the Hiss 5 was released
or Hiss
in
4. Sorry, it's the Hiss 4.
or yeah, the Hiss 4. It was released in even I had numbers messed up. It was released
2002.
in 2002
Yeah.
in
With the Neo
as part
Viper.
of the
Yes.
it was the GI Joe versus Cobra era. It was the first time that an all new Hiss tank design had been created since the Hiss 2. I that is one of the two.
There you
Yes,
go.
I had the
Yeah.
brown one. I thought I did, but I could not find it for this broadcast.
It's
Which it's gimmicky. It's a little goofy.
I
I
kind of
kind of
like
love
it.
it.
I like the gimmicky of it. Normally, I'm not big on the gimmicks, but I actually like how
Me
it
too.
looks.
It's wait, Chad, do me a favor. Open it up. Let me see the cockpit. Because I remember really liking the cockpit design. And at one point, the one that I did have, I had Rip It driving it.
so the thing is, to get the cockpit open, you got to do that weird Cobra head extend thing, right?
Yeah, where again, it's really I like the formed cockpit of it. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I had to Rip It sitting in it.
I really like the fanged canopy.
Nice.
That's cool. Like, I'm a big fan of that.
That is actually that is a design feature that no other Hiss tank has ever used, and I kind of wish they would actually use that on another release. But for this particular podcast, there were two Hiss tanks that I thought I had or did have that I could not find, and that brown Hiss is one of them. And I'm halfway between really annoyed at myself and the other half is I'm really not surprised at all, and that annoys me even more. There was a black and blue repaint of it that was released, I think, the following year.
Yep.
That was released
That
with
was a 5.
That's right. That was the Hiss 5. That's right.
Yeah.
It had a black and blue and silver repaint of the Cobra Pit Viper as the driver, but that one, the Hiss 4 had what, the Neo Viper with it, right?
Yeah, I have the Neo Viper.
It had was that one of the O-ring retro, or one of the
yes,
the revised O-ring. Okay.
Yeah, the modern construction didn't come out till 2007, so that was all O-ring.
No, I was thinking because in the very first 2002 releases, when they launched GI Joe versus Cobra, they had dumped the O-ring and they all had the T-crotch articulation, and that pissed people off mighty. There was a
blue with brown and yellow highlights. I know I have that one.
There was a resounding, overwhelming outcry from the fandom to bring back the O-ring because it was a staple of the Joe line. And very rarely in this hobby do you see unified fronts about anything. But that was one where the T-crotch design went over like a lead balloon. Nobody liked it. Even the purists that wanted to support the line, like me, were pissed. I'm like, bring back our O-ring. So a bunch of the 2002 releases did get revised with the O-ring and with the new articulate or the classic articulation. The Neo Viper was one of them, and they ended up packing that and the Cobra Claws Trooper with a bunch of different vehicles as drivers. And yes, the Hiss 4 did include one of those revised articulation Neo Vipers.
They're not particularly expensive on eBay right now.
Nope.
That is one thing about the 2002 stuff, the early stuff. It's really not that expensive.
I've
There's
been going back and getting some of the Cobra. I got a couple of the Snow Wolves that I didn't have, and the Morays and the Electric Eels from a guy yesterday.
yeah, the Spy Troop stuff, a lot of the Spy Troops troopers, the G.I. Joe versus Cobra, and the Valor versus Venom troopers.
Yep.
Yeah, there's not a big market for them. Yeah, they're not that expensive.
Yeah, the black and blue ones, Valor versus Venom, and that's a good color scheme for that tank.
Yeah, I just made an offer on one for a custom, so we'll see.
Nice.
I don't know what color scheme I'll do it in, but yeah, I want one for a custom. So
I couldn't find mine for this, and I'm kind of annoyed because when Chad held his up, I'm like, oh, fuck, now I remember why I like that thing so much.
I like it. I dig it a lot. I'd never had one. I think I had one once when it first came out, and then a bunch of that stuff from that time period just kind of disappeared.
That was my I had everything that was released in 2002 through 2004. It was sporadic after that, but yeah, I don't have that stuff anymore. I've moved many times over the years, and look, I grew up as an Army brat. My dad was in the military, and then I joined the military, and I've moved many, many times in life. And one of the things that you learn from moving is, you know what, shit just gets lost sometimes, and you move on with it.
Yeah, I think a bunch of my stuff is it got lost in moves.
And things just they don't show up again. Either they don't make it to the destination, which happens, or when you're unpacking, it gets put someplace, and who knows. I admire people who have organizational skills because I have a terminal deficit of organizational skills. I like to think some people can move and not lose things, but I'm not that person.
Well, I'm in the process of PCSing now, and I only left this corner up for today to be with you guys, and then I'm gonna pack all this up. So I'll let you know if I lose anything.
I would be curious.
I'll let you know
because people that have organized displays and really impressive displays of toys. Again, I'm not that person, and if I was, I mean, I wish I was but yeah, I'd be curious to know if everything moves for the organized people in the world too.
I think when I got my flight paramedic job, we were going to move to Nebraska, and I packed everything up, but we decided not to move.
So I remember that.
Everything, and I still think I lost stuff.
I remember that. Yeah, you were going to move, and I'm like, well, that's going to be weird. You're like, yeah, we're not moving. But the next release of
the Hiss 2 Bravo, which is a like bright blue version of the Hiss 2.
It was the 2003 convention exclusive that came with Operation it was part of Operation Anaconda. The 2003 set. Yeah, there was a Hiss 2 that was in a brighter blue. Yeah, it was less of a gray blue like this one and more of a real Cobra bright blue. Eye-catching Cobra blue.
It's very
and then it included the sub pods from the Cobra Hammerhead vehicle in blue.
Yes.
Yeah, they were repainted for those and never available again. That was the second use of the molds for those Cobra for the Hammerhead subs, and it was never used again. And the Hiss 2 tooling was never used again. which actually kind of surprises me because the club used it in 2003. I'm really surprised that in all of the many hisses that came in like the 25th line and later club releases, the Hiss 2 was never used again.
Yeah, that's
Right.
in the same thing.
It's really strange that in the 25th anniversary line, as many retro vehicles as they did and they updated, I'm surprised that they didn't I'm surprised that they didn't retool the Hiss 2 with the newer foot pegs and to accommodate the modern figures. I'm really surprised that they never did.
Yeah. You'll do the Ostriker 5 times though.
Right. We got a bunch of Ostrikers. We got the Cobra, the Cobra glider, the claw, the trouble bubble, the GI Joe armadillo tank,
and a couple different releases.
Yeah, but no Hiss 2. It's very strange. I do not understand why that vehicle fell through the cracks, and I do think it's kind of sad because imagine imagine a modern era release like 25th or a Rise of Cobra if they had dug up the Hiss 2 tooling and done it in all black, people would have gone nuts for it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think that would be fantastic in like traditional Hiss colors.
I got an Iron Grenadiers Hiss too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because JD's got a couple of customs too. So
yeah,
we'll definitely do Hiss customs here at the end.
Technically, what we were planning to do was save all the custom stuff at the end, but my mind works a billion, and some of that shit came into the conversation early. Sorry. My mind is a chaotic place, and my podcast reflects it.
We've already talked about the next one, which was the blue and black repaint of the Cobra, the Hiss 4.
We did mention the 2004 release. Operation Crimson Sabotage was the second Crimson Hiss Tank, and I was wrong. It was not an MMS, the mobile missile system that was released with it. It was the Cobra ASP, the ASP. And it was.
Hang on, I got it right here. Sorry.
Why do you keep turning off his camera? He can leave it. That was one that I never owned it. I wanted one, because I liked the ASP in Crimson, and I wanted it to, because at the time I had not gotten a 2002 version of the Crimson Hiss. I ended up getting that later, much later, but I never got a Crimson Sabotage set.
Did you hear all that stuff, Paul?
No.
That doesn't sound
anyway. Right. There it is.
Nice. Yeah, my buddy, my next door neighbor had a ASP.
That's so cool.
Kid, and I've never owned one, but I do like it.
I didn't have the original ASP when I was a kid, nor did I get the Python repaint of it when I was a kid. So I didn't actually own a Cobra ASP until a few years ago when I got a beater version off of eBay for a custom project. But I've never owned an actual ASP. And in 2004, I wanted that Crimson Sabotage set because I finally wanted to have an ASP, and I really liked it in that red color. Crimson fan or not, there are some color schemes that just work, and that is one of them, but I don't have it.
And as kind of a like going off into the weeds, that's another one I'm surprised didn't get made in the 25th anniversary line.
Oh, the ASP? You know what? That's a good point. Why didn't they? Because they had the Cobra Fang helicopter was released, the flight pod, the Trouble Bubble was released.
The Firebat.
Yeah, you're right. That is weird. Why didn't they ask?
Like small to medium vehicles that came in those window packaging box. I'm surprised that the ASP did not make it into one of those.
Wow, that was a strange decision. In fact, that's even more obvious. Now that I think of it, that's even more obvious than why didn't they use the Hiss 2?
Right. He held us up. I'm like, they didn't make that in the 25th anniversary line. That is really weird.
Yeah, that is really weird. And really, it seems like it was kind of a no-brainer, but I guess not.
And then the
Yeah, the
next
Should have done a whale and a night raven too, but
well,
that's a different subject. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I think people
but
are
the
yeah,
the Crimson Sabotage set included 3 O-ring because still in the midst of the O-ring, the hybrid era that they had going with the new sculpts and the O-ring, the new O-ring figures, and or the vintage style O-ring figures.
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 Crimson Guard included with the Crimson Sabotage set, and I think it was exclusive, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I was wondering
Yes.
about that.
I believe, if I'm not
It's
mistaken, I think it was. I want to say it was exclusive.
the detailing on this is so great because it comes with that wash on it. It's such a good HISS tank.
Yeah, it's hard to see it on the camera there.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but even like the black insert in the cockpit rather than just being all monochromatic red, like other versions where if it's a black HISS, it's a black cockpit.
Right.
And that has the red translucent canopy too, just like the HISS 2. And that's cool. Oh, I just looked at it. No, it was a KB Toys exclusive in 2004, and 2004 was KB Toys was still around. It would still be a few years before the chain was shuttered altogether.
Yeah.
But they were less common than they were because that was the first. That was early on when shopping malls and shopping centers in general were in decline. That was the beginning of the decline. KB, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe I never got one because we didn't have a KB wherever it was that I was living at the time. But it again makes me sad that I never got a Crimson Sabotage set. Because I was thinking maybe if it was Toys R Us, maybe there would have been, but no, if it was KB, that might be why I never got one.
And then the next one was from the DTC line. So it was kind of nice to get vehicles in the DTC line. And that was the DTC HISS that came out in 2005, which is pretty cool because it's black and gold.
Yeah, that Rippett's golf cart that I showed, that was a modified version of the DTC HISS. This is the DTC HISS. It had the open back because you could fit a few troopers in there, and it had the gull wing entry doors for, and you could fit, I think, 4 or 5 figures back there. But yeah, the DTC HISS direct to consumer, which was the online exclusive slash shared exclusive with Toys R Us. And the DTC HISS was an all new design.
Yes.
I love the headlights that they're actually sculpted in there and painted. I like the underbit, the
chin guns
under here. Yeah, chin guns. There we go. It's very
they are.
Yeah, they
and
pop
8
out.
firing missiles.
Yes. These pop out, but they're not easily lost. You actually they stay in there pretty well. Yeah, the missile launchers are spring loaded. I have when I was unboxing everything for this, I realized that I had 3 of these, and I'm like, wow, okay, not including the blue repaint we'll talk about in a little while. I'm like, wow, I remember being a fan of this. I didn't remember having 3 of them, but apparently, and again,
there are
and that
so
does not
many
include
versions of the DTC HISS.
The what?
There are so many versions of the DTC HISS.
Yes,
they use it for a lot of exclusives, like even that Soundwave HISS that I'm sure we'll get to.
Yeah, that's the blue one that was taught. Yeah, we'll get to. But yeah, I've got 3 of these, not including the golf cart or the Soundwave repaint. So I knew I had 2 of them. I didn't realize that I had a third, and I'm wondering where the third one came from. I wonder if I got it cheap on eBay or something. But the driver with the DTC HISS was bright red, like the original Crimson, like the original HISS driver was, but it was a night creeper. It was a new sculpt, gangly, awkward, proportioned Night Creeper in red and silver. I don't know why it was a Night Creeper. There was any number of figures that they could have included with it, but they put a Night Creeper, which were Techno Ninjas, and you can put a gangly, awkward, ugly, new sculpt Night Creeper in with it if you want, and you can paint it in whatever color you want. You're not going to make it make sense as a HISS tank driver. I don't know why they did that. Even if they were going to use that shitty design figure, they could have put a different head on it and called it, I don't know, HISS driver. But no, Night Creeper. Yeah. That was one of 6 different color schemes that crappy Night Creeper was available in. The HISS is one of those rare vehicles that I will buy for the vehicle itself. There's other vehicles that I like because of the drivers, but in the case of the HISS tanks, I don't care what they include with it. I'll get rid of the driver. I'll find a different driver if I want to. But I was completely baffled by the Night Creeper.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I didn't pick it up, is I had a shitload of those Night Creepers.
It was and it wasn't even one of the cool Night Creepers they released with like the inhuman, like green glowing eyes. No, it just looked like a human with its crappy proportions. As much as I like the new sculpt line as a concept, boy, some of those figures left something to be desired. But
the DTC is in the running for my favorite HISS between the DTC and the HISS 2.
I see why.
I think the DTC might be my second favorite behind the classic, the original. The Pursuit of Cobra version that we'll talk about, though. Man, what a pretty vehicle.
And the Sigma 6 version, too.
In fact, Chad, since you're the only one who has that, you should show that off. Because I don't own one. I never owned one. Now I wish I had owned one, and now I want to go back and own one, because that's one that I don't think you have to sell any members of your or any of your body parts to get the money to afford.
Of course, because I am moving, right? I'm packing to move. I already packed away all my mask figures, so I can't really show the scale. But that's the smaller size Sigma 6 HISS tank, and if I put a figure next to it for scale, like, you can see how small it is.
It is.
There's no way a 4-inch figure would fit in that.
Yeah, when you hold up the tank by itself,
it looks,
it is deceptive. Because if I just hold it up and Chad holds it, you can't really tell.
No,
at first glance that it's.
Yeah.
Anybody who was collecting in 2006, 2007 will remember that Sigma 6 came along and created a lot of waves in the G.I. Joe community for some of the wrong reasons. But one of the things they did was they had the G.I. Joe toy line for Sigma 6 was in 2 different scales. There was a brand new random 8-inch scale with highly articulated but very stylized sculpting.
Yeah, the proportions.
The proportions and the general aesthetics of it very well fit in with the anime style cartoon that Sigma 6 got. I don't think the figures were not entirely anime, but they were a lot more exaggerated, a lot more cartoony than traditional Joes. But they had the 8-inch line, which I was into at the time. But at the same time, they had a second, a 2.5-inch version that was all released at the same time. It was like a competing toy line within one toy line.
Yep.
So the 2.5-inch scale figures, that created a lot of ire from collectors, because they're like, why didn't you just scale them up and give us more, 4 or 3 3/4-inch figures? While the 8-inch figures, that created a wave for all different reasons. But I never owned one of those DTC hisses, or one of those Sigma 6 hisses. And I wish I remember seeing them in the store. And I remember at the 2006 G.I. Joe convention in New Orleans, they had one they had a big Sigma 6 display that year, and that was on display, but it never even occurred to me to buy one because I was buying the 8-inch Sigma 6 figures, but I wasn't buying the little ones because the figures, they were pre-posed, they were pre-art, they didn't have any articulation. They had mission sets. Well, I really like that HISS tank, and now I want to go back and get one.
I had the Vamp. I turned that was one of my first custom vehicles. Because you could put a 4-inch figure in that. It was a little tight, but I remember repainting it and dry brushing with a lot of white and turning it into like an Arctic Vamp.
Oh, that's cool.
The cool thing about this HISS tank is that when you can take the back of the HISS tank off, and it makes it almost like a troop carrier, and then it has the drop down ramp.
Sweet.
Well, that's cool.
It has the drop down ramp there.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So see how it turns into like a troop carrier? And then you
Yeah,
can turn the cockpit down almost like an asp. Right? Turn the cockpit down like that.
I like
And then what you do is you take the back part of the HISS tank, and then you open it up, and it becomes like a battle emplacement. And then this is separate. So it'll still sit in here, or you can keep it kind of like behind your little battle emplacement.
Man.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It is so
they've done that with the
cool.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
Man.
Like it's a smaller size, but it has a lot of playability to it. And then the sides still open up, right? So it kind of sits like this, or you can snap it apart, open it up like this. They can fight from behind it. It's pretty rad.
So
and then it just all snaps back together.
Despite that you probably can't fit a 3 3/4 inch O-ring Joe in the cockpit because of the scale. If you take the back off and use it as a troop carrier, yeah. I mean, you could at least put troopers back there. I mean, they could at least. I like it without the back because it's like a HISS tank version of a pickup truck, and now I kind of want one because Rip It needs one.
You don't want one.
It's like a deuce and a half, or like an Army LMTV or something like that.
Which
it's a really cool idea.
Cheapest one on eBay is $155.
What?
Cheapest one on eBay is $155.
All right. Well,
yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it's boxed still. There's 3 boxed ones. There's one in England for $69, but with $25 shipping. So that's
I was gonna say
your cheapest one, but
I got this thing for like $20.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
Well, again, at some point in the next couple of years, the bubble of the collectability from the secondary market values is going to burst. It is absolutely going to. It needs to. It needs to, and it will. It's eventually going to collapse under its own weight because even secondary market toys parts that used to be cheap, or decent, you can't get them for cheap or decent prices anymore, and it's a little ridiculous. But it does. It has to collapse at some point.
Sorry,
but we're not there yet.
Before I put it away, I want to show you. So remember how I said you can take the main gun off? Like it actually has feet.
Wow. Holy
See the
shit.
feet that come down? Like there's a lot of really cool play features in this Sigma 6 mini HISS. A lot of cool stuff in this.
Now I'm understanding more of the ire that 2.5 inch tall line received, because all of those cool features, I understand why everybody's screaming about why the hell wasn't this just scaled up for the 3 3/4 inch figures, because that people would have gone crazy for that. Yeah, like the feet that pop out to make it that is amazing.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the Mean Dog.
That is a phenomenal design for a HISS tank. And again,
and
now
you put it back together, and there it is.
Sweet.
All right, so I won't get one anytime soon, but eventually I want to get one, and I'll need a Rip It figure for it.
It's so awesome.
I've got Rip It now in 2 different scales. Well, I'll have a little Sigma 6 version. I don't care. That is really cool, and I I didn't even remember that thing existed until you showed it to us before we recorded. That is one HISS tank that I can't account for because I didn't even remember it existed. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's what I was saying. I didn't even remember that they made one of those.
Yeah, it's so awesome. You can see where the classified team got their inspiration, right?
Yeah,
Totally. You know,
did they do that
classified,
in any other color scheme, or was that just the only one that came out?
I think this is the only one.
man, it really is. It really is too bad that that era was overlooked and had so many really forgotten, because people would have gone crazy for that. In fact, I'm now surprised. In fact, now I'm not surprised that they're that expensive, because even in the wrong scale, I can see where there'd be some demand that people still want to own that particular HISS tank.
Out of all the HISS body styles, that's the only one where I only have the one example of. I don't have 2 of those or 5 of those or 15 of those. I have 1.
Yeah, it's not a particularly easy one to get, apparently.
No.
That Sigma 6 stuff was not readily available. I had the Fire Bat at one point in time. I don't know what happened to that. And it was pretty cool.
The 8-inch line was more prolific in stores.
It was
than the 2.5-inch line. That didn't go. While Sigma 6 for 2 years, the toys were actually a big success, despite the online Joe community, the adults screaming about how much it sucked, because that's what adult collectors do, man children, even back then. But the fact is, the 2.5-inch line, yeah, that was not. I remember seeing a lot less of that at stores.
I remember trying to get the one that Firefly came with. I think it was called the Street Razor. I remember trying to get it back then, and it was insanely difficult to get.
I don't remember that.
I wanted it for a custom because I thought I could turn it into a 4-inch like I did the Vamp, and I never got a hold of one of those things.
Now, if I'm not entirely mistaken, I believe the next HISS that was released in 2008. The first release in the 25th anniversary line, there was another blue HISS that was released. Yeah, I
was looking at it then. I'm like, you know what? I have a bunch of those window boxes sitting in a closet somewhere. I bet I still have one of those, and there it is.
Yeah,
I love that driver.
That and there was a Shark repaint. Yes. Shark is awful, but yeah, there was a repaint of that
because it comes in. It's like blackish gray. I have
that
one sitting in there too.
Yeah, but it's still a shark, so it sucks.
For a shark, it's okay though. The colors work.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well,
fantastic.
Yeah, but if you put good colors on a better vehicle, you end up with a better release. If you put great colors on a shark, you still have a shark in cool colors. I hate the shark so much that back metalized chrome of the Sky Patrol version couldn't salvage it. If you can't chrome a vehicle and sell me on it, you have made a shitty vehicle.
I like that.
I disagree with that.
I like that Night Shark. I like the Night Shark. I just packed it in a box where I hold it up.
I had 2 Night Force vehicles when I had most of the figures, but I had 2 Night Force vehicles when I was a kid. One of them was the Triple T, and one of them was the Nightshade, which is the shark, and it sucks.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Nightshade. I'm talking about the gray shark.
Yeah,
the dark shark. He's got it. He's going to get it. There he goes.
The what? Oh, you're talking about the 25th release that actually had. See, because they were both Target exclusives, and I didn't have either of them because the HISS and the Shark, not that I would have bought the Shark anyway, because fuck it, no, I wouldn't have. But
I like the Deep Six.
Yeah, that's so awful.
Grand Slam.
So yeah, it's so fucking
I
terrible.
have that Grand Slam.
I love it. I have 2 of them actually.
Just boxed them up. Yeah.
But yeah, the Shark and the HISS tank, yeah, my Target here never got them. That's why I don't have that blue HISS tank. Immediately following that, again in 2008 was a wide release 25th HISS tank that was.
I got two of them for some reason. I have no idea why.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Yeah, that one, that was the wide release. The blue one was a Target exclusive with that weird.
The blue one was a Attack on Cobra Island exclusive.
And again, now, all right, all the way back in 2008, Target exclusive have an Attack on Cobra Island thing, which they brought back for classified later. Target they've got a thing for Cobra Island references in their exclusive toys, apparently. But the wide release Black HISS tank, I did have one of those, but I do remember now I customized it and that didn't work out. So I don't have one anymore and I never replaced it. But that came with a blue HISS tank driver that they called a HISS Commander.
Yes.
That's a rip it. I don't care what anybody says, that's a damn rip it.
Yeah.
And I
thought it was rip it too. And then you're like, no, it's a HISS Commander.
Yeah, but for all intents and purposes, they might as well have just given it the name because he's the same colors and everything. But
obviously,
so I don't.
Well, we can look at it right there because it's right there.
Yeah, I don't. I do think you should open that.
I have it open.
What?
I have one open.
Yeah, no, I think you should open that one on the show too.
No, I'm opening something else.
Damn it, all the hell. See, I have no influence over Brian anymore, but Chad, on the other hand, sends me his overkill that I pressured him to open on his show.
I did, yeah.
And we've kind of, it's like after watching that show, we have like this new thing where we open something on every show. So
yes, we have been inspired.
Get a little further into it.
But now I will go back and get one of those 25th HISSes because there's a release that I don't have it.
I should get a 25th Deep Six.
Yeah, no, fuck that. I had a 25th Deep Six and it was terrible because
it's better than the original Deep Six.
That is true.
It's here somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I thought I had it sitting on my desk, but I don't.
Yeah, I bought one off. He wanted one for a custom, so I bought one off eBay for him and mailed it to him. And
I still have
yeah, whatever he wanted it for, yeah, he still hasn't made it, and that's okay because it's a Deep Six. It sucks. But some running jokes. Yeah, we just beat the dead horse, and I'm happy to beat the dead horse. But the next HISS release was, hang on, let me see. It was.
Well, that's odd.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, I take that. There was another red HISS that was released at the end of 2008, just in time for the Christmas season, in a big box that was a Target exclusive called. It was the Ultimate Battle Box. Now I remember. It wasn't the 2002. It was that one that I had that I forgot about. So I just looked at Yo Joe. That's the one that I had. And now I'm mad because I don't have it anymore because I still have Steeler from that set. And I still have the Mobat from that set. No, I gave the Mobat to my son because, well, he loves it and it's a Mobat. But I don't care. I mean, I love it, but I don't care. That's right. That was the third red HISS tank that came out, and I don't have it anymore. And now I'm kind of mad about it. So that's the one in my memory I knew I had, but I mixed up when I bought it. So in the span of 1 year in 2008, there were 3 HISS tanks released in 3 different color schemes. And 2 of them were Target exclusives. And I did have the Ultimate Battle in the box set. And I forgot about that now. No, because when I bought, my friend and I both bought the set and we went back to his house and we opened ours up. He immediately started customizing the vehicles. I immediately started customizing the figures that came with it. But except for Steeler, which I still have somewhere. And I look at it and I say, look at those goofy proportions, Steeler, you loser. But so that was the red HISS tank, which I really wish I had. So Chad, you don't you don't have one to show off either.
Mm-mm.
So the
I've
two
had
biggest
numerous opportunities to buy it, but I already have red hiss tanks. I have like 5 Mobats. I never really wanted that set.
That is one that on the secondary market last time I looked, because I had been looking for the trooper. Oh no, I know what it was, because a couple months ago Brian asked me what that trooper was, and I remembered it had come in the Target set, but I didn't remember what it was called. He wanted to know the name of it, so I looked at it, and then I looked it up on eBay, and I'm like, holy shit, they're not that expensive, but they're more than I want to pay, because that was one of those that I customized that trooper and I want a new one, but no.
I do like the blue treble bubble that came in that pack, though. I like that color scheme on that treble bubble.
I do still have the blue. Oh, that's right. I do still have the blue trouble bubble, but I'm not. I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have it. I
think
saw it a couple of months ago. I'm just not sure where it is right at the moment. But
I have all the pieces parts out of that set. I just don't have the hiss tank or the Mobat. Like I have the figures, I have the treble bubble, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't think
set. Yeah, that's not a set that's in, like a lot of the 25th stuff. There's a big market for it. I don't think there's a lot of demand for that set. I remember buying it before Christmas because I was all excited because
I have the trooper, the Cobra trooper. That's right, because we were talking about. Yeah, JG just mentioned that because I had the Cobra. It's gray with red accents.
Yeah, and I think in that set, I believe it's called the Cobra Vehicle Gunner.
Yes,
it's a trooper, but I had to look it up because I'm like, I don't know, it's not a trooper. No, it's not a trooper. They called it a Cobra Vehicle Gunner. And I wanted, when I was looking up the name, I was like, it's not that expensive, but it's more than I want to pay, so I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, the one that I had, I customized, and it was a sad custom that now I am mad that I cannibalized mine to customize it. But the next hiss in 2008 there were 3 hisses released for the 25th line. The next one was a 2009 release. It was the Arctic hiss. It was the first time the Cobra hiss had been released in white as an Arctic release, and holy shit, this thing is cool.
And I am missing all of the parts except one of the bags. I have no fucking idea where anything is. I have no why it's gone.
Yeah, the bags on mine are not here either. My gunner is a repaint, or it's a custom snow serpent.
That looks familiar.
That Brian made for me. Yeah, he's the gunner for my Arctic hiss tank. The driver is the actual Arctic hiss driver that Hasbro made. It's basically a hiss driver head on a snow serpent body with tiny, disproportionate, obnoxious feet that drive me fucking crazy.
I remember the accent guy? Black. I'm just sure I had that guy though.
So my Arctic hiss, and I'm not really going to show it because we haven't gotten that far yet, but there's mine, and that's 100% custom.
Wow. Boop. Oh yeah, it's got the 788 of the original numbered.
Yeah, but you can also see like where it was black and I scuffed it up after I painted it. Yeah, so that's a complete custom.
Did you make? Did that precede the release of the Arctic hiss?
No, this is the Walmart retro hiss. The black one. That's all 3D printed. I just customized that.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's cool. I thought maybe it was okay.
Nope. Yeah. See, like you can see the subtle differences. I left mine black here. I have a blacked out canopy,
etc. I like the blacked out canopy on that. That looks really nice.
Yeah, that's really good.
I like that better than the clear one. I like it a lot better than the clear one, honestly.
Yeah, so I don't have the saddlebags on mine. I'm kind of annoyed because I forgot that they even belong on it, and now I'm thinking, do I have it? And they fell off, or do I not have them? And I'm annoyed.
And that's one of the things. I have no idea where the fucking missiles are. I have no idea where the other saddlebag is. I'm lucky I know where the driver is. I had all of that stuff in one thing, and it's none of that's in there. So I don't know where any of that went, and that's annoying.
Just steal your Stinger missiles. There you go.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. These are the Sting. These are the this uses the same missiles that the Stinger.
100%. It's
right?
just the rack is on the what's called the gun ring or the turret for the hiss. It's just the same rack just put on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it's the Arctic. I mean, this is really cool. This is really cool. I am glad that Hasbro painted the white here because I mean, I took mine out in the snow last year towards the end of winter when there was still snow. And with the red missiles, it really doesn't blend in all that well with the snow, but the rest of it works pretty well.
Cobra doesn't care about that.
No, yeah, they're not worried about subtlety. But yeah, so that is the first and only. Oh, hi, Alice. Hi.
This is one of our usual guests.
She's so silly.
Hi.
Wow, she's calm. That's weird. That never happens.
Yeah.
Well, that does happen, but not that often. Yeah, she's usually a ball of kinetic energy. Yeah, I haven't heard any of the dogs bark. That's weird.
Nobody's trying to deliver something to the house.
Pretty funny. But yeah, the Arctic Hiss, that was 2009. That was the only Arctic Hiss that they've released. I remember that one of the things I kind of liked about it was the Canadian GI Joe convention. They had the white and red of the Canadian flag that they would, and I liked it because I'm like, this could go with Black Ice's troops for the Canadian Joe or the Cobra faction, and I kind of like that. But it works. It's a great release. Like I said, I took it out at the end of last winter, and I'm gonna take it out again for this winter. But the snow doesn't have to come anytime soon. It'd be great if it didn't.
Snow here.
All
right, yeah. So the next one is the first one from the Pursuit of Cobra line that came out in 2000. Yeah. And I believe that was the one that had movable treads. And do have one of those, but I customized it and it did not turn out well.
The treads not only are rubber and move, they elevate. They actually there's a pop-up feature that while it will stay, it's a little janky.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Do I have?
Yeah, it stays as long as you don't pick it up or move it. But if you look at it wrong, it pops back up. But you don't have to do any. But I mean, it's a great design for a HISS tank. I like that. I don't know where the other cannon went, so it's supposed to have two cannons on top. I don't know where.
Yeah, but it has that. It has that lever.
Yes. It. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it moves the. Yeah, I mean it's a cool feature. I really wish I had. I don't know where it went to.
Cannons for mine, but that's all I can find of it.
It's got the chin gun. They don't move. Oh, I mean, I take that back. It moves back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, the cannons don't move or the guns don't move individually, but I just wish they did because, like it'd be a neat design, but yeah, this pop-up feature really sucks.
So I packed that one away. I still have the red one out, and then I have this one out.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the retaliation version, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Technically, the pop-up feature, there's a button on the top that's supposed to activate it, but if I look at it sideways, it pops up anyways. So it's a really nifty design for the HISS tank that I really wish that it didn't have that particular issue, but
Yeah,
it is.
the latch was just a little bit better because I do like that feature. I think that
I mean, it's a great feature that I just wish it held better. I wish it was more stable. This is the first HISS tank that's got a completely armored cockpit cover, so it
Yep.
actually blends perfectly with, like, you can't tell that it's a separate piece, but the cockpit's really cool. It's got a control stick that actually falls off. I was gonna say it folds out, but it falls off.
no idea where mine is.
I feel like
And then
after Destro left the services of Cobra to start the Iron Grenadiers, I feel like whoever Cobra got to make their vehicles instead, they weren't as good as Mars. They didn't have the quality they did.
Probably
one cool feature on these tanks is that in the little vents, so this is my red one, but in the little vents on the sides, you can actually mount
Oh
backpacks.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I had that
yeah.
at one point in time.
The release I have is the very first one from Pursuit of Cobra. It's dark brown. It's hard to tell on the camera, but it's dark brown instead of, there was a black repaint and then that crimson repaint that Chad has. I've only got brown repaint, but maybe I'll get a crimson version at some point, but I never had it.
I think I had the crimson one, but I don't know what happened to it. Yeah, because the black one came out in 2010. I don't think it had the backpacks either.
The only black version I have, I customized, so I'm not pulling that one down yet.
Fair enough. Did it come with backpacks? I don't think that it did. Looking. No, it did not. All right. So then the crimson one also came out. Oh, hang on a sec. In 2011. And then the one after that was the really weird HISS Attack Scout.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have that one right here.
I have part of that one. I don't have the entire thing.
And
I believe I tried to customize it and it didn't work, so I never got a replacement.
Pursuit of Cobra line, wasn't it? I got to look at that now because I
want to say yes, but that vehicle that Roadblock uses in Retaliation uses that same base. They just put the cage on the top of it.
The Ripsaw.
Ripsaw,
yeah.
I had a Ripsaw, but it didn't have the movable treads.
It is. It's retailer only alpha vehicle for the Pursuit of Cobra in 2012.
Yeah, I've got part of mine missing the turret. It's missing one of the treads. I believe I was going to customize it, and that didn't work out. So I have some of it. I probably won't replace it. They're probably not that easy to get anymore if they were some kind of retail exclusive.
Yeah, I think they were really hard to get.
Yeah, I boxed mine up. So,
and then let's see.
This is all smoke and mirrors, gentlemen. Most of my stuff's already in boxes, except for what you see right here. You can see, like, even that shelf is empty.
I'm kind of shocked that you haven't boxed up the Terradrome. It's going to take up a big piece of real estate.
My flag's just going as is. I'm just going to carry it out.
And then the one following that in 2012 was a convention exclusive, and that was the Shockwave HISS tank.
Let me grab. Oh, you got yours.
Yep.
And you got yours.
I actually have two for some reason.
Yeah. I won't pull mine
down. From what was it, 2012, 2013, 2014, I think. There were 3 years in a row.
Yes.
Where for the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives Hasbro was doing crossover sets with the Transformers and G.I. Joe. Each set included a Joe vehicle and a Cobra vehicle. They were made as the named characters. This set was Shockwave as the Hiss, and there was the Cobra Rattler repainted in red as Power Glide.
No, different set.
No,
Or
it's just
was that
this.
Oh, was that the only one? See, did it? Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, that's right. It was
It's
just
just
the
the
Hiss
tank. But it came with
That's right.
Destro, and it came with that Constructicon Battle Android trooper.
That's right. It was
Yeah,
the 25th bat repainted in the bright green and purple.
Who was actually
of-
right there on that shelf.
Yeah, I've got mine downstairs. Yeah, it's
on the back of my flag with the rest of them.
yeah, it's in the the colors of the original Constructing. Oh, was it Devastator? Is that the Gestalt's name? Devastator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's what came with it right there. So you can see it.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Because it came with the Energon cubes and everything with the cart. That's right. And it came with the little tiny sound wave, right? It was yeah. I love Shockwave as a character. He's one of my favorite Decepticons. And I love a Hiss Tank. When this was announced, when they first showed these pictures off online, I remember texting Brian and saying, the best of two my crossover favorites are now combined into one. It's got the iconic cannon from Shockwave as it actually comes off.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
can
got
take it off.
the basic cannon, but no, it's Shockwave. It must be there. So but
And I remember doing a custom, since this didn't transform, you asked me to do a custom robot version of that.
yeah, I had the Dark of the Moon Shockwave, which
yeah,
I love the Bayverse movies. Okay, they're goofy as shit. They're over the top. They don't conform to any sort of mythos that was ever created before. They're gawky. They're hard to see. They're obnoxious. They're loud. I love them despite all of those problems. But I love that they brought Shockwave in finally for Dark of the Moon. While they did waste his character completely, that was hardly limited to only Shockwave. Most of those movies wasted at least 3 or 4 characters. But they brought Shockwave in, and I had the Dark of the Moon version, and I sent it to Brian.
Too.
Oh, the Constructicon bat. That was
I saw it. Your classified version.
I am not a huge fan. Yeah. I am not a huge fan of Battle Android Troopers in general, but I really liked it in the Devastator color scheme. That was cool.
Did you see the Soundwave bat that I made?
So that is, I made I expanded on his backpack and added like tanks from Techno Viper, and then I made a like shovel attachment for it too. Made different attachments from Techno Viper parts. So there's like a wrench that will attach to his arm. But yeah, that's
such a nerd.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous of that, by the way. Next time I'm at your house, I might steal it. I'm just saying. Luckily, I won't be there anytime soon, so it's safe for now. That is, if I'm gonna get a Battle Android Trooper, do something really cool and gimmicky with it like that, and I'm happy. But yeah, I sent the Dark of the Moon Shockwave to Brian, and he painted it. And while this is more a G1, obviously style, traditional Shockwave, in robot form, it probably wouldn't look like the Dark of the Moon version, but well, it was easy to get at the store, and I love it. I don't have it with me for the broadcast, but I still got it. It's downstairs. Nice. It did. It looked nice because you match the metallic purple of this,
yeah,
and with the silver highlights, and I put them next to each other. I'm like, yeah. I mean, sure, the treads disappear, but well, so does Optimus Prime's trailer when he transforms. So whatever. But yeah, I remember when this was announced, I'm like, yep, they took Shockwave and a Hiss Tank and they combined them into one vehicle, and I need it. that was the only one of those crossover Transformer sets that I had to buy.
I got all of them.
Like
I did. The only ones that I don't have is the one you have with the cassettes and that Battle Force Scarlet, which I really want that figure, but that's another story.
Oh, the convention the collectors club version with the. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's got the little tapes and the. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've got. But because what the first set was, I think Starscream and who I never bought that set.
It's just Starscream.
Oh,
And
it's
Cobra
just Starscream.
Commander. Yeah.
Yeah, Cobra Commander came in that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I never bought that.
I didn't get that either.
I am not a big fan of Starscream in general. He's okay, but whatever. I think he's obnoxious, and I appreciate that about him. But I'm not, especially G1 Shockwave. Not really. I'm not a big fan of Starscream in general. I like the insipidness of him, but
I always liked him
the G1 design doesn't really do anything for me. Later characterizations of Starscream worked better for me, and later designs like the Armada version was really cool. I'm not a big fan of G1, so that was an easily skippable one for me.
I like Starscream, but to make Starscream the F-14 Tomcat when he's an F-15 just seems kind of lazy. Yeah. You know, like, yeah, I get it. You molded it in darker gray and you gave him the Starscream, stickering and all that stuff. But I took a bunch of Joe Storm Eagles and I made the G1 Seekers out of Storm Eagles. And I think he fits better as the Storm Eagle, which is basically based on the YF-23.
Yes.
Prototype fighter.
And you can
I don't like him as a Sky Striker. Say again?
You can see my customs hanging in the background there. I did Thundercracker, Skywarp, Thrust, and Sunspot.
Yeah. I did Quietus and Cyclonus out of those Buzz Lightyear fighters because they look really Cybertronian.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're getting off his tanks. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
JD started it.
Yeah.
Dude, I always do.
His tanks go.
But yeah, I love this vehicle. And yeah, Brian, you said you've got two of them?
Yeah, I have two of them. I think what I was going to do was kit bash it onto the 2010 Pursuit of Cobra frame that had the movable treads, but the gimmicky thing made it not an easy kit bash, and I just never wanted to sit down and do the logistics of figuring out how to make it all work, so I never did.
I made one of those, a Megatron HISS tank to go with that Shockwave.
Ah, nice.
Which I'll bust that out here in a minute when we get to it.
Yeah, we get to customs. So the next one after the HISS tank, or after the Shockwave, was the blue
Soundwave.
Well, we're coming to that just yet. It was the 2012. So we're using Yojo, and it didn't get updated, but it's that the blue version of the Pursuit of Cobra, or not Pursuit of Cobra.
Retaliation.
Yeah, Retaliation.
The one that I just held up.
Yes.
That guy?
Yeah. Yes, that one. So that was the next one.
My Retaliation version is retrofitted with the movable treads from the Pursuit of Cobra version. I really like this version of the HISS tank. But I like the turret. I like the minigun side cannons, but the unmoving treads, this dedicated nonsense drove me insane. I only didn't do that to this one because of the Decepticon symbols, but yeah, this drove me crazy. I'm like, no, I need so I got another. That's right. My all black Pursuit of Cobra repaint. That's right. That's why I don't have it anymore. The treads are on this Retaliation HISS, but I love this HISS tank design.
Yeah,
it's big. Yeah.
It's great.
It's burly. You can tell it takes a lot of punishment and gives a lot of punishment out. And I love that design.
I wish
it's got that 5 POA Cobra Commander.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this surprisingly, now that I think about it, I never made a rip it to drive this thing. What the hell? I should really do that at some point.
Need another rip it. So the next one in 2015 was kind of an orangish. It came in the Silent Strike 50th anniversary line. And it was
I never.
Yeah, it was
I wanted one.
I'll get it. I'll grab it.
Yeah, I wanted one, but I never found it, and I wasn't going to buy it. I wasn't going to buy it online because it was a convention exclusive. It wasn't really worth me trying to get. It was
exclusive.
Interesting release that, looking back, I wish I had one, but at the time I didn't feel any particular need to get.
And then they did a repaint. Yeah, there it is. Chad's got it.
Yep. And then here is the.
I was gonna say they did a repaint of that and called it Chimera.
Yeah, yeah, they did the green one.
Yes. So the Joes have a. There we go. I knew JD had it.
Yeah, I've got one. I didn't like the stickers that came with it, so I got the stickers from. I got the Repro Mobat stickers from Toy Hacks. And so it's got the Mobat stickers, because if Steeler is going to steal, if he's going to abscond with a Cobra HISS tank and repaint it for his own personal recreational use, he's gonna decorate it like the Mobat. So I put the paint wipes on it. I aged it a little bit. I weathered it a little bit, and I put the Mobat stickers on it. And it's got the rail gun. It's got the same rail gun that the Cobra one does. But I love the idea that Steeler would have slipped into it and just laughed as he drove it away from the Cobra base, and then got back to Joe's and said, "All right, I'm redecorating this bitch," and did exactly that. I'm very happy with the results. But my son at the time, he was 4, I think, when I did this, and he liked it so much that he kept wanting one. But I didn't want it to get lost or broke, because I was like, I'm not going to reproduce the custom. So I ended up going on eBay and getting, because this one came from eBay because I didn't have that set. I bought this by itself with Steeler and Grunt, and I just skipped the Cobra half of it. But he wanted it so much that I went and I got a second Chimera tank off eBay for cheap without the drivers, so he could have his own green HISS tank to play with, and he did. It's upstairs, but I am very happy with this custom, and I got it out for this, and I'm like, I just look at it lovingly. I'm like, not often I can look at one of my customs and just say, boy, I'm glad I did that, but boy, am I glad I did that.
I made mine just a jungle Cobra HISS. I am not a fan of faction switching vehicles. For some reason, it irritates me. Python Patrol, Tiger Force, that HISS tank, like I can't do it. The Starscream Sky Striker, no, I'm not a fan. That is one of my peeves.
I
never liked it.
I like it if there's a backstory to it. And see, I'm fine with Cobra stealing G.I. Joe technology and repurposing it like the Python Conquest. Copperhead probably stole a Conquest, and then they made it Python Patrol. I always figured there's only one Python Conquest. Copperhead or somebody else probably flies it. They probably didn't have multiples. They probably just stole one Conquest. I don't like when the Joe vehicles, like the Cobra Moccasin, is repurposed for a Tiger Force G.I. Joe. No, stop. G.I. Joe, aside of maybe a HISS tank that Steeler is stealing at the tail end of a mission, they're not going to be using Cobra technology like a Moccasin as a Tiger Force. They're not going to. It's weird to me. The Maggot repaint in Night Force, same thing. I'm just like, why do they have a Maggot? They're strange choices. This is a one-off, and that's why I go with it. But had they done like an array of vehicles, all these Cobra vehicles painted in green, that would have driven me nuts. And if that wasn't a HISS tank, I wouldn't have gone with that either. So that was bias anyways, playing into it.
Yeah, I just put Cobra stickers on mine, and there we go.
And then one of the ones that we didn't touch on yet, is the Soundwave HISS tank from the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. And we'll wait for Chad to get back here because he's
grabbing it.
All right. Yeah, he's running off to get his.
He's
got
okay
his right there. Hang on.
This was the set. Yeah.
And in true articulated Chad fashion, we are.
Yeah, do it.
Yes. All right.
Do it.
I never opened mine.
All right. So
JD, just for you. Look who's driving it, dude.
Yes. Fuck yes.
Just for you.
You know what? I'm gonna pop rip it into mine too. Because right now I've got a Cobra Trooper driving it from Red Laser's Army, one of those factory produced custom guys, that Darren Howlett was responsible for. And I love this figure, but I had him driving because I took this out to take pictures of it a few years ago, and so I just put him in it and pretended that this is Rip It in his first ever G.I. Joe before he rose to the ranks of HISS commander. I pretend that this is Rip It if he had been released in 1984. Alongside that,
was Rip It.
Yeah.
The what?
Rip It before he was Rip It.
Yes, basically. Yes, this is my. Yeah, I pretend he existed before that, and he was released at the same time as that boring ass Stinger driver.
I love the Stinger driver.
I know you do. I'm bringing my joke back up. I think a gray repaint of a Cobra Trooper is boring. Brian thinks I'm nuts. I watched your review and I'm like, nope, it's still boring.
Oh, it's still awesome.
But okay, so this set, that set for the San Diego Comic-Con, that was the one because that was the only one that had a Joe vehicle, right? And a Cobra vehicle.
No, there was one with the Vamp, and
was there okay. Right.
Yeah, but technically they're two Joe vehicles.
Yeah, and I have the Vamp.
Oh, I forgot that set even existed. Yeah, I don't have anything from that set.
Vamp's right here.
Yeah.
I don't have that set at all. So I completely forgot that set even existed.
And then the Jetfire's hanging from the ceiling with all my other aircraft.
Yeah, mine's on the bow of my flag. So I'm not gonna go get it.
Yeah, no.
However, that Baroness and Ravage is my favorite Baroness.
Yeah.
That Ravage is perfect.
Yes.
That set was Ravage new in that set?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Baroness had the new head sculpt, right? Because she had like the microphone.
Yeah, I'll grab them.
Yeah, because I forgot that. Yeah, I don't have anything from that set. I did at the time want one of those Jetfires, but not at those prices. And that was back then. I can't imagine how much they're going for now.
I got mine like 3 years ago and it wasn't that bad. But anyway, here's the Baroness.
Yeah, right? That's a badass figure.
Mine's on the Decamite, or actually, I think she's in my custom Terror drone.
And then there's the Ravage.
Yeah.
Awesome Ravage.
Yeah, that is
like the detail on that Ravage is fantastic. And they're just so perfect together.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
I had mine sitting on the deck of my flag, but I think I put her in my Terror drone.
Such an awesome blending of the two.
That is cool. Yeah, because wasn't that imagery from there was a Devil's Due comic, right? With the Baroness and Ravage on the leash.
It's actually that it's the home screen on my phone. Yeah.
That's the art that I'm thinking of. Maybe it's not
a
comic.
Different piece.
Yeah, that's the art I was thinking of. That Ravage figure was repainted by the club later, and it was green, and it was released with
Autobots.
But I don't remember. I don't remember what its name is. But I've got that one. I didn't realize though until now that it was a repaint of Ravage. Now it makes sense. I just never gave it any thought.
I turned around to my shelf to get it, and I don't have it. So
it's in a box somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, here's I love this idea. Again, it's another Cobra Hiss. It's another Decepticon
DTC.
Transformer. And I love the crossover ideas. But I like that they put the missiles in, so it's Soundwave's classic, attachment for it. But I'm not a big fan of the idea of Soundwave as a tank. I like the idea of Soundwave always being some sort of a communication device, like in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, I think, the second Bayformers
Where he's the
movie.
satellite?
Yes, he's a communication satellite that launches that little weird ravage. I love that idea. And then in Dark of the Moon, they turned around and Soundwave was no longer a communication satellite. He was Patrick Dempsey's car. And I'm just like, why is he a car? That's stupid. So
and they put the missile launcher on back.
I'm not a big fan of this as Soundwave. But in this color scheme, he's almost identical to a Cobra tank or a Decepticon tank named Dark Mount. And so I don't use him as Soundwave. He's Dark Mount.
I have mine standing next to my masterpiece Soundwave, and together they look freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, together, yeah, I could see that. See, if I could display, maybe I'd drop the hang up with the name, but I don't. So he's Dark Mount. But yeah, all right. So I'll put actual Rip It driving Dark Mount, and I'm cool with that. Yeah, despite the iconic missiles, yeah, I can pretend it's something else. But yeah, I did not buy the set that this came with. 4 or 5 years ago, I found this on eBay for like $40 shipped with the stickers unapplied, and it just didn't include anything else from the set, but I had to get it for the Hiss. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I bought the green Hiss with Steeler and Grunt at the same time, because I got a deal on both of them from the same seller, now that I think about it.
Yeah, sadly, I got mine loose, so that's one of the SDCC crossover sets where I don't have the box, because I love the box art for those.
Which one?
The Soundwave. I don't have the box.
Because I was gonna say I got 2 boxes of the Shockwave.
Yeah, I have the Shockwave. I don't have that Soundwave box because I don't like the Power Glide. I didn't buy the Power Glide. I just bought the Soundwave Hiss.
Because
again, right, I don't like factions using other vehicles, and I get that Power Glide is an A10 and the Rattler's based on the A10, but I had no interest in that Power Glide. So I didn't buy the whole set.
I didn't get that set because, well, I mean, I love the Cobra Rattler. I do. But Power Glide is one of those characters that I not only have no attachment to.
He's annoying as shit.
Well, I didn't remember the character.
So I did not have very many Transformers, but Power Glide was one of them.
I didn't have a lot of Transformers, but there's some that I didn't have that I remember, and there's characters that I have kind of a penchant for. But Power Glide was one that I had zero memory of. Until I was shopping with a friend of mine back in like 2005 or 2006, and he bought a Power Glide Transformer at the store. I didn't remember who Power Glide was, so I have no affinity for that character. So I was just fine just buying a Soundwave Hiss Tank without buying a Rattler that looks like Power Glide. To this day, other than that plane, and I couldn't tell you anything about Power Glide. No idea. He's basically a name to me. Oh, that is so cool.
They work so well together.
Yeah, together, yeah, they do. They look.
I have that figure somewhere. I don't know where it's
at.
Oh
yeah, and he even has the Megatron gun.
Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have any Masterpiece Transformers.
They're just so cool. Perfect side by side.
You're right, because
I brought
the Masterpiece scales well with the Hiss Tank, so it is believable that he's transforming into that.
Masterpiece would Thundercracker, and then one of the dogs got it.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't remember who got that. Which dog got hold of that?
I will say that Megatron Hiss scales really well too. So like if I stand him next to like my Masterpiece Soundwave, he's just a little bigger than him.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to do that because I know I still have the Soundwave somewhere. I think I know where it's at.
Yeah, they did a good job.
And then before we get into customs, there's a couple like I don't JD had a good term for it, like not official, not canon. No, it wasn't. I don't know.
They're not personally made customs, but there's a few that were available.
So here's
like
one.
Sometimes the smaller can
The drone.
Yeah. So the history.
Yeah. What? Okay. Wait. What did you say that came with?
Came with
Firefly.
Yeah, I want to say Firefly.
Yeah, I think it came with Firefly.
Yeah.
I remember at the time that came out wanting that HISS tank, but never finding that Firefly. So I never had one. And then Brian's got a Cobra Commander that has a red one, and I don't have that either.
This was how it was originally supposed to come out, and then the cost was too much, so it came out. I still have another one on the card without the HISS tank, the Crimson Hiss. So this was originally how it was supposed to come out. They're like, nah, it's too expensive, so they didn't. This came out on this card with the figure without the HISS tank. And then a couple years after that, they're like, you know what? Here's the way it was supposed to come out, and it came out as an exclusive through the club, maybe, because it wasn't retail. You had to get it from somewhere.
That's why I don't remember it, because I do remember that Cobra Commander.
I don't know. It was an exclusive somewhere. I don't remember where.
I remember that Cobra Commander figure, seeing it at Target.
Yes.
But I didn't remember the HISS. That would be why. So the version that I saw at the store didn't have the HISS, and that's why I don't remember it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I do want one of those little HISS drones. That's awesome, but I don't have one. I'm trying to remember the Firefly that it would have even come with, and
I can't remember either, honestly.
Yeah, I packed all that crap away. So
yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
I couldn't even pull the guide out if I wanted to, because those are all gone too. And I'm going to take it all the way back to the very beginning of this discussion. And I knew I had one. I just forgot where it was, like all the way up to the ceiling. But there is my original.
Ooh, there we go. V1
the OG. There's my original.
Nice.
I have modern figures in it. But yeah, that's my original.
It is magical. So is that yours from when you were a kid?
No, but it is an original.
Okay. No, I didn't know because there are people that have somehow managed to save things that they had when they were a child. I have not.
My buddy, he's got all of his stuff from when he was a kid.
Yeah, and I think that's totally cool that people maintain all their
stuff. I do. I think it's awesome when somebody can pull something off the shelf and say, this is the one that I played with when I was a kid, because I can't even imagine having something like that.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I have stuff from that I've had for like 20 years, but I bought it off later too. I don't have anything from when I was a kid. Nothing.
No, me either. Sadly,
I had my comic books, but my dad made me get rid of those before he kicked me out of the house.
I was that shitty kid where when I got out of toys and like skateboarding and girls and all that stuff became,
you blow them up.
I did.
With fire,
I blew everything up.
I was say strapped bottle rockets or something to them.
Bottle rockets, firecrackers, M80s. I would pull the Joes apart and put a firecracker in the O-ring, and I hate to say it, but I did. I destroyed them all.
That's terrible.
But now I'm making amends for it, right? And I'm saving this stuff. So.
When I say it's terrible, it's not.
It was terrible.
No, see, I'm not saying it because it was a terrible thing to do. I'm saying it's terrible because at the time that first of all, I never outgrew GI Joe. Like, I never got too old for it. So it never would have occurred to me. But I also would not have been allowed to have fireworks or anything like that at the time, because my parents would have been concerned I would have blown part of myself off, and I very likely would have. So
I have
luckily, I've never had any sort of tendency for that. So I do have all of my, but and when I say terrible, I just mean I don't have memories of anything like that, because even the kids that I knew that I grew up with, nobody did any of that I know of. So I can't even. I've heard tell of things like that off the internet. So yeah, that wasn't. So basically, you were Firefly with your Joes that you outgrew when you were a teenager.
Yeah, I was Sid from Toy Story. I hate to admit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
right, so
I gotta get my daughter somewhere by noon. So I gotta go.
Oh, all right.
So not to rush you guys, but like I gotta be out the door in a little while.
No worries.
Okay. That's all right. We'll talk a little bit more. We'll do the customs, then we can.
It's cool. I just wanted to.
Yeah. No worries. I was just gonna say, let's segue into the customs.
Yeah, we can.
Which I
so
don't.
There's the golf cart that I already showed off.
Yeah.
There's the. Where did I? Oh, here we go. Hang on a second. Oh, so a few years ago, on the for joecustoms.com, they always do these group projects, and one of them a few years ago was golf carts. Take a Joe or Cobra character and design
like a Mario Kart or something.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was inspired by Mario Kart, like a battle ready sort of Joe or Cobra as in their golf cart. Well, I made a HISS Tank golf cart for Rip It. I hate this vehicle. Brian loves it. I hate it. I'm not happy with it, but Brian likes it.
Fantastic.
It is. I don't remember what the battering ram came off of, but the body of it is a Cobra ass. The wheels off of it are the wheels that the ass had. The front wheels are from some knockoff like Chat May toy line or something. The top of it is off a golf cart alarm clock that I found that was in scale. So I hacked off the top, so I had the canopy like the golf cart will have. That
it looks like Fred Flintstone's, like the roof of Fred Flintstone's car.
I was just
something like this. Not the same thing, but but and then Rip It is he's my. I was going for like a Pursuit of Cobra type vibe. He's got a he's got a mohawk on top of his helmet. Nice. But yeah, I was going for a little bit of a post-apocalyptic Pursuit of Cobra style, but yeah, it's Rip It's golf cart go-kart. And like I said, I'm not, but yeah, this was the third custom of Rip It that I've done. So I mean, I like the design, I like what I was going for, but the finished project just doesn't match what I had in my head. So I'm not taken with it. It's all right, but I feel like it for a guy who doesn't do a lot of vehicle customs, and certainly nothing like this that needs like sheet styrene and stuff. It was the only time I've ever messed with that. And for a guy who doesn't normally do those kind of intricate, I'm like, I guess it came out okay, but I had a much better picture in my head, and I think I'm just mad at it because it doesn't match that. But so technically it's a HISS tank. Another HISS that I bought, I unfortunately do not remember the name of the person that I bought it from, but 10 years ago, one of the customizers at Joe Customs, who did a whole line of Python patrol vehicles. He made a Python HISS tank, and he was selling off a lot of his stuff because he was making new stuff. So I bought the Python HISS that he made, and I wish I could remember who it made, and I can't.
That came out nice.
The guy, he did like, I remember he did a Python. There was all kinds of like there was a Python Condor. There was a Python. I think he did a Python flag, if I'm not mistaken. But
flag.
He matched the yellow of the original Python patrol vehicles. And the netting. I don't know how he did this paint. I don't know how he did it, but he put the stick. And I love this thing. And it came with. It was included with. There was a Python trouble bubble too that's not up here, but he painted it the same. I'm like, it's so cool. But I'm like, this is as close to a Python HISS as because the club never did one.
So it's production, honestly.
It does. And it holds up. It's durable. I've had this thing for years. Like I said, I bought this 10 years ago. It's been in storage. There's no paint wear. There's nothing. Yeah, it stands up beautifully. And it includes a Python HISS driver that he did.
Nice. Yeah, that's nice and clean.
And I don't know how he did it.
I saw a real cool Python Alley Viper that I want to try and emulate, but I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do that.
I love that idea though. But yeah, so there's, again, I wish I could credit the person that created it, but I simply just don't remember who it was, and I apologize. Maybe if I can find it on Joe Customs, I'll credit him in later. But
I can always drop
my last HISS tank that I was going to make, or that I started making.
What?
Last year, Brian and we were going to do like a custom challenge for listeners. And we put it out there, and it was going to be like, not a contest, but it was going to be like a community project. But things started to unravel for me on the side of real life. And I started this thing, but I never really, it was going to be a holiday theme, like make a custom that looks like a holiday, like inspired by a holiday thing. And we were going to, but it fell by the wayside because I started doing this and I went heavy on it, and it was great. And I was off to a good start, but then everything started going wrong. So what I was going to do, it's the first time I've ever showed it off in public, a Mardi Gras float style HISS tank. It was going to be a dragon type float.
Nice.
Love it.
The eagle head, or the dragon head, is off that same Masters of the Universe vehicle that I pulled the guns off of.
Yep.
So I love the idea. I just mounted it to the front of the HISS tank. The wings are off of a Fortnite figure. There was that came with like an owl, like a robotic owl. So it was going to be a flying dragon. So it's in the purple, gold, and green of Mardi Gras colors. I was going to decorate it like a float, and I was going to have a Mardi Gras themed Rip It and a Mardi Gras themed Cobra Trooper as the gunner. This is as far as I got with it. That is not to say that I won't finish it someday, but it's not done right now. But yes, I've never showed this off in public before, but it's all rattle can spray paint, and I was actually happy with it. Yeah, I kind of want to finish it someday, but maybe not. So
if you do the canopy, Tamaya makes a clear aerosol. That's really good. Yeah, that's how I did the canopies. That's how I did the canopies on my Sky Striker Seekers.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, because I like if I'm gonna use the rattle can spray, I like the Tamaya ones. They're durable and they dry properly.
I use the translucent testers,
but okay,
different strokes. So
whatever. I'm not a testers fan, but I've used tester stuff in the past.
I didn't have a name for it.
That's from the Battle Ram, right? That head.
Battle Ram. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My HISS 3 has the guns off of it, and this has the head off of it.
As soon as I
Brian,
saw the head, yeah.
the Hiss 3 that I bought last year to send you Rip It is underneath
okay.
this. So that's my So there it is. There's my Mardi Gras Hiss tank that I never finished. So
I actually don't have any customs to show off. I did a custom Pursuit of Cobra Hiss tank, and it came out horrible. It was before I had an airbrush. The paint's so thick, it looks awful. I don't even know where it is. I thought I had it set aside, but I don't. I'm hoping that I can strip the paint and redo it, but I don't actually know where it's at right now. So,
You know, and that's kind of the thing about custom vehicles is that sometimes it sucks, you know, to just delete, but sometimes it's cool. Like I took one of those Buzz Lightyear fighters and I made a Night Force out of it, and I looked at it and it looked great, and I was like, I don't like this, and I deleted the whole thing. I stripped all the paint off of it.
what'd you use to strip it?
Oh, mostly just Goo Gone.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
I soaked it and then I scrubbed it with a scrub brush.
Yeah. No.
But I disassembled the whole thing. The missiles, the engines, the canopy, took all the stickers back off. I just deleted it back down to nothing.
Yeah,
and that's how I made
I never fucking finish. It's like a running joke. I never finish vehicle customs. I bought a beater armor bot that I was gonna do. I rattle canned. It's metallic purple.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna do like a Techno Viper version of it, and I've never sat down to mask it to do the silver because that's. I mean, here's part of it right here.
I rarely start vehicle customs because I'm afraid I won't finish them. This goofy bastard. It got finished, but only because there was a deadline. Had there been like an open-ended deadline, or like, because we had a couple of months, but man, I
bought a beater stun. I was going to do it in Firefly colors. Never finished it.
I love vehicle customs. That's my primary thing to customize this vehicle.
Yeah, dude, those Buzz Lightyear fighters that you customize, those look production. I'm impressed by them.
TIE fighter that never got finished.
Oh, rad.
That's cool. I've never even seen that.
No.
That is cool.
Probably have seen. Again, never finished it.
Ooh, bomber. Yeah, with the interceptor wings. That's cool.
Yeah, TIE advanced bomber.
Yeah.
Well,
I have a shitload of custom HISS tanks.
All right.
Let's see them. Okay, so first is my battle android trooper.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I like the bubble over the gun station.
Yeah. And I can take it off, but
that's cool.
So I put the Gatling gun that came with the one of the battle android troopers, the moderns, and I just put it right on there, and it actually just clipped right in.
Oh, nice.
Clipped into the frame clips.
Oh, that's cool.
Clipped right in there. And so
that's cool.
My battle android trooper one. And those are toy hack stickers. You just get bat hiss stickers.
Yeah.
And that was the impetus of that design. And I just made it flat black, and then I just distressed it.
Nice.
So you can see all the distress on it.
That is super cool.
Originally, it had this as the turret. Let me grab it. Like, I kind of envisioned it as almost like a mobile howitzer. So I took one of my spare flag guns and I made that.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But it's so big.
Too big for the.
Yeah, it looks a little awkward. So I didn't really like it.
I still like it.
I don't dislike it, but it's kind of oversized, and I like that kind of round, almost R2-D2 kind of dome.
Yeah, I could see that. That's cool.
Yeah, I kind of like the R2-ish shape of that.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I hadn't made that connection, but that's cool.
And then so my Arctic Hiss is a custom.
Nice.
Right? So I just took a retro black Hiss, painted it white, and then I distressed a bunch of the white off to give it all the black dings and stuff on it.
Yeah.
And then that's 3D printed, that missile rack.
Nice.
That is cool.
Yeah, so that's a custom. I don't know. Let's see. I got hang tight. I don't like standing up on camera. I'm sorry.
Everybody's got their quirks, man.
What makes us human? We've all got our little hang-ups with things. So that's why I had to get Chad on the show. I'm like, perfect guy to talk his tanks with.
So I have this Iron Grenadier HISS 2.
I love it.
And then that's a knockoff missile rack.
Is it? Because it looks like the one that's on the Sigma 6
No,
or DTC missile launcher.
The Sigma 6 and the DTC, they're kind of wide side by side. So you're talking about that missile rack?
Yes.
Yeah.
See the difference?
Yeah. Oh wow, yeah. It's
actually from a Leonard the Core, a little Jeep that comes with that missile rack on it. You just pop it off, but it fit perfectly down in that hole.
Yeah,
nice.
So I just made it Iron Grenadier.
Nice.
So I got that one. I didn't make that canopy translucent because it matches some of the other Iron Grenadier stuff. I kind of wanted it solid red. And then just for kicks, I made a Crimson Guard.
Ooh. Okay.
So I just kind of made that, just a little Crimson Guard HISS tank.
That looks better than the ones that Hasbro's made. Theirs always looks too red, almost too kind of almost milky, like almost a translucent. Like they don't.
Right. It's not the right red.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
It's apple red.
Yeah. I feel like theirs is never crimson enough. It's always too bright. Yeah, except maybe the Crimson Sabotage set, but the other two releases, I'm like, nah, they shouldn't be that red.
Yeah. And then I always try to put like little fun details. You know, it's almost in the vein of like a fighter pilot with all their
They're like little Easter egg things. I love that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And that's 1985, right? So 85 Crimson Guard, whatever.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I had the 85 on that. And 1 sec. I'll be right back.
That reminds me, my golf cart has tick marks on it for all the Cobra, the Joe tanks that Rippett's taken out with the gull wing door on this snapped in half. So I gotta glue it on. Like the hinges snapped. So but yeah, it's got the tick mark for all the, I don't know, Mobats and
this is my first DTC HISS. I've never had one of these.
Such an awesome frame.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad I have at least the frame of it.
So if you remember Scar from later G.I. Joe, right? The Soldiers of Chaos, right? So I made
like Iron Claw? I'm a huge Iron Claw fan.
So I made a Scar HISS. I just made it like a flat gray.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Just made a Scar HISS.
I just finished a classified Iron Claw figure. Cool. Custom. I love Iron Claw. Like Scar, it's such a cool idea. I know Extreme went over like a lead balloon, but I always like the potential of the toys. Absolutely suck balls, of course, but as a concept, Scar is awesome. So I like seeing a Scar themed HISS tank. And I put fun little like just pops of red, little racing stripes down the side because it kind of goes with the parallel stripes on the Scar logo. I would say it's very 90s. It fits the period.
I know it was supposed to be from.
Say again?
Where'd you do the Scar logos from?
Oh, Toy Hacks.
Okay, yeah, I was curious.
Toy Hacks has. They've got Scar. Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Huh. Oh yeah, if you just look through all the pages of G.I. Joe stuff, on Toy Hacks,
I didn't realize that they had anything that was extreme.
I could go broke from them.
Oh man. Yeah, I didn't realize that there was anything that references extreme on there. Oh, that's cool.
I've done a ton of restorations, and that's where I get all my stuff. The only one that they don't have right now and don't have I don't think they have it all. It's the GI Joe Avalanche. They don't have a sticker set for the Avalanche.
They don't. No. There's a few items that they just don't have repro sticker sets for.
Yeah.
And some of them you're like, why wouldn't you have this? But here's my Megatron.
Ooh.
And it's chromed, right? So the side guns are chromed, the top turret's chromed. I put this is a tip for a terror drone main gun. I turned it around backwards.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I put it on there just to give it kind of like a larger, almost like a flash suppressor.
Right.
Feel
As
to
a
it.
person who's never owned a terror drone, I wouldn't have recognized it to save my life. So
yeah, I just turned it around backwards. But yeah, that's a Megatron hiss that I made.
that is nice.
So because I like all the little Easter egg stuff, his number is Delta 01, right? So he's Decepticon number 1. If you can see it on there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm very subtle with stickering. I'm more a fan of layering on like weathering, but on this Megatron, I didn't weather him at all. Gotcha. I wanted him to look really pristine, and then I brushed the chrome on down here.
Gotcha.
So he kind of accents the shockwave hiss in that fashion.
Right.
He sits next to my shockwave.
When it comes to the Transformers, I don't like them to look weathered or beat up. If they were Cobra vehicles or GI Joe, I don't like the idea that they'd be weathered. I feel like they should be pristine because they might be alien robots, but I don't like them battle scarred, and they don't. I feel like whatever damage they incur that kills them would be bad enough to kill them, but they wouldn't run around. They would restore themselves. I'm sure of it. I don't.
Yeah.
I like that idea of no weathering at all.
And that's why I like my Battle Android Trooper one is just beat to shit, right? Because it's a robotic sentry hiss, right? That's technically what they're called. And so it just rolls in and through everything. So I have it completely weathered all down the sides, the top, where the turret rotates. It's just like gouged out.
Nice. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
More of a workhorse kind of hiss tank.
Even my Mobat hiss, I did the weathering because I wanted it to look like grease stained and shit because it would. But weathering, I feel like has to have a purpose. And the Transformers, I like the idea that they would be in exquisite shape, even and they'd fix themselves afterwards.
Yeah, I don't. The more I think about it, it's like I don't think I would like that either.
Yeah, because like they've done over the years, Hasbro's done like Transformers that have like the weathering effect, and I'm just like, no, I don't. They might be warriors, but they're also vehicles and they're aliens. They can repair that kind of stuff. I don't like the idea that they'd be. I mean, unless it was a personal choice by one of the Transformers to be like, I want to look fucked up, but I don't feel like most would, and especially not Megatron.
I made it easy kit bash of a hyena, but I just made a black one.
All right.
So like the Action Force hyena tank.
Oh yeah.
I just made a black version of it.
I've never owned anything from that line. I mean, I've got a couple club figures that referenced it, but I like the hyena tank. I don't like the idea of Red Jackal because that's still Destro. I don't care. But I do like the hyena tank, and I like the idea that Mars would have sold his tanks to Baron Ironblood too.
Well, obviously, as you can see on this shelf right here, like I'm a real big Red Shadows.
I was going to say, I do believe I see a vintage Robo Skull back there.
Yeah, a little.
There's a vintage ATC right at my 12 o'clock, but he's way up at the ceiling. So
nice.
It's the APC, like the Action Force version of the APC
with the completely facelifted interior.
Yeah, with the command center in the back and the whole 9 yards. It's right there.
Wish they'd remodeled or made that a male. I don't care what color it was in. I wish they had done that for the American American version. I have 2 APCs because I was going to do that custom, and I never got around to it.
Ever since I saw the pictures of the Action Force APC with the completely renovated interior with the new seats, and I'm just like, I look at the APC and I'm just like, fuck you, you suck.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
that is one of the cases where I feel like Palatoy, their release completely not only outshined the Hasbro version, but it made the Hasbro version just look pedestrian and just incomplete. They did an amazing remodel of that, and yeah, I've never owned one, but I had an APC when I was a kid. But yeah, when I remember not being a big fan of it anyways, but yeah, when I saw that remodeled version that Palatoy did, I'm just like, you know what, Hasbro, you guys lost that battle. Palatoy, they knocked it out of the park with that.
Absolutely.
I got a Desert Hiss.
Ooh.
Just made it brown, and then I just
That
weathered it.
that goes well with that 2009 the Desert Six Pack that
Yep.
of Cobra Troopers that Hasbro did. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would go
And then,
well with that.
so I like to do fun little stuff. Like I gave it a couple little pops of red, and I gave it another racing stripe, but instead of being down in the bottom like the Scar version, it's kind of on the top. And then 87 1. So my wife was born right January 1987.
Gotcha.
Right. So I kind of do stuff like that.
I love Easter egg references like that. Whenever I create a character, if their file name doesn't have some kind of tie in to their like, then I like to put, like, if I'm making a direct reference to something, or my stupid Cobra Asp that I have, that I once created, I I writ dyed the parts so they weren't quite as bright yellow. Um, I don't have the custom driver that I made for it anymore, but when I did, it was a named character, and he was born on the island of Sodor, which is a reference to Thomas the Tank Engine, because at the time that I made that, my firstborn child was watching Thomas the Tank Engine a lot, and I was watching it with them. So I had some influence there. So I love Easter egg references.
You know, a lot of times, so talking about drivers and whatnot, a lot of times, like I'll kit bash a figure, right? So I just kit bashed this dude,
Cool.
right?
Nice.
So I just kit bashed him, and then I was like, oh, he needs a ride. So then I took one of the maroon hiss tanks and I made him this ride,
Holy shit.
right? So I just made this for him after I made the figure. I was like, oh, he needs his own cool little hiss tank.
Holy
So,
shit.
so I put the shark's teeth on it.
Yeah, I like that.
Try to make it something a little different, but yeah, I kind of made that for this dude.
Nice.
I got a couple more. We'll go grab them, and then I'm out of steam.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to chat on the show. He's a big nerd over his thing. I didn't realize he had so many customs of them though. That's amazing. Um, I I think he can. I think the only person that can rival him for his tank customs is Kobe Brown or AVAC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have tons of them, and a lot of them are just like simple repaints. So I'm a big fan of the Cobra Mamba, you know, and mine's a lot of my vehicles are hanging vertically on the walls.
Okay.
So all the time I'll sit in here and I look at my Mamba and I'm like, I really like the color schemes of the Mamba. Like I'm a big fan of the Mamba. And then I was like, you know what?
Hey, that's cool. Like
so
that's like
I
ground support. It's like ground support for the Mamba.
Yeah. And I actually took a DTC turret and I turned it around the other way. Because usually the gun should be facing that way, and this should be like their little control area.
Yeah.
But I just turned it backwards. I kind of like the silhouette of how the guns are way over the canopy like that.
I'd like that idea, because I figure if the Cobra Mambas are in the sky, then they've got a ground an anti-aircraft support vehicle. So if there's two Cobra helicopters, if there's two Joe helicopters on the tail, bearing down on the Mamba in the sky, maybe that thing could take one of those helicopters out so the Mamba could take the other one out.
Yeah. So I just did it purple, red. I did the translucent red on the canopy, and I hate this modern version of Flash. And so I just put some Cobra water slides on them.
That's great because that was a cool figure that wasn't Flash.
No, it was not Flash, and the black and red just lends itself to Cobra. So I was like, oh, he looks real good in my
That
Cobra Mamba
when
HISS
I
tanks.
when I got that figure, I said, you know what? In no way possible should anybody at Hasbro ever deluded themselves enough to call this thing Anthony Gambello, because there is nothing Flash about this. I saw custom repaints people did that put that figure in the original Flash colors. And I'm just like, no, even in green and orange, that's still not a good figure of Flash.
I tried to buy that figure a couple of times and just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Oh, but with some Cobra decals on it to make it, that works beautifully. I never even thought about, maybe it's just a good Cobra. Yeah, because it's so terrible as Flash.
Yeah, it's just.
And then,
yeah,
just because I have to, it's a DTC HISS tank. But right, I'm wearing the Gridiron today because Gridiron makes a lot of awesome stuff for HISS tanks.
Yes, they do.
Boop.
Nice.
I just put that in a DTC HISS tank. Those dual caliber 50s.
Yeah, I never did order one of those. I really need to.
I love it.
I really
and then those
to.
Sponson missile pods are fantastic. I just made somebody a Alley Viper HISS tank. I made a video about it, about how I made it. It wasn't for me, it was as a gift. And I use those Sponson missile pods on it. They're fantastic. I love them.
Yeah, I feel like one of I need to get those. I feel like one of my HISS tanks should have a
Gridiron stuff.
Yeah.
Gridiron makes great stuff for HISS tanks. And then they make all that camo netting and stuff too.
I just got the Kamakura figure, the classified version. His weapons are all, I mean, they're fine. They're generic ninja weapons that all came from the Snake Eyes movie line. I keep looking at those Gridiron sets because I'm like, no, he needs to be rearmed with and it's a financial strapping right now that's, otherwise I'd already have the ninja weapons for him. They make good quality stuff.
Yeah, I used parts for my version 2 Alley Viper, my classified Alley Viper.
I appreciate the fact that Gridiron does 118 and 112 scale stuff. Yes. That's one thing I will say I appreciate about that company.
Yeah. I wish they did more 118 scale stuff, but that's just me.
Yep, same.
Because I'm not the biggest classified fan, and I am, every time I say I'm not going to do another classified custom, I end up doing another classified custom, but I'm not doing another classified custom.
The last scale I tried, I can't do it.
Yeah,
I want to show off. It's not a custom. It is an unofficial release. The 2009 Canadian Joe convention. They had been doing handmade exclusives, figures and characters for a while, for a few years in a row. But in 2009, when the Canadian Joe meet became the Canadian Joe convention, I don't think that was the first year they were, but I went up there because they had a box set, and Mike had found a factory that would chrome the HISS tanks, the 25th HISS tanks that were available at the time. They were available in large numbers everywhere, but I guess Canada had a surplus of them. So they managed to back metalize those chrome or HISS tanks to create the Hate tank.
Yeah.
Nice.
The armored canopy is from Shapeways, because at the time, it was so cool in the chrome that I'm just like, it needs something cooler so Shapeways, who, I mean, you could buy 3D printed stuff back before anybody, I don't know, I guess had 3D printers at home, but I'm not the biggest fan of the design of it. I kind of wish that I had invested in something a little more simple. But like I said, I love a chrome vehicle. And if if your vehicle sucks so much that chrome can't save it, Sky Shark, but this is gorgeous.
Yeah,
I am
beautiful.
We had a basement flood years ago. And so the Joe vehicle, the Armadillo that came in the set, it was recolored black for backstop. And the and the 2 figures from the set all got lost in that flood. I was so happy that this was upstairs on a shelf with the other 4 or 5 HISS tanks that I had at the time. If this had been lost, I would have been heartbroken.
Yeah.
Because there truly would have been no way to replace this. But I went to the convention and I came away with this, and I'm proud of it. Wow, those things go for a mint on eBay. But
Yeah, I'll bet.
All right, well, we
I
kept
think
everybody
that's all we got
listening, and Chad's got to go, and we've gone on for a while.
And I got to edit this thing, so it'll take a while.
But
Yeah.
Chad, thank you for joining us. I knew that you were the perfect guy to get on the show to talk, because you're a HISS tank enthusiast like I am.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on for this.
Absolutely.
This was fun. So
I appreciate you guys having me. I always love talking customs. So
yeah, no, that's clearly my domain, because everything that you see in the background is custom.
You know what? Before we go, hang tight.
Oh, okay. It's like a tagline. It's like the tag scene at the end of an MCU movie. Oh, my car's in the shop. I got a text, or I got a message. I must have called about it. What do you got, Chad?
Brian? That's for you, Brian.
Oh, nice.
So I take reaction. Wow. I take reaction figures.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And I take Battle Android Trooper bucks. And so I took the reaction figure's head,
yeah,
and his arms and his chest, and I made a
Whoa.
backpack. Right.
Nice.
So you got to figure the lenticular chest piece. So I made him in the Soundwave colors, and then I put the Soundwave chest, his torso, on his back as a backpack.
Fantastic.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So I made that guy.
I have not seen that before. That is fantastic.
I've never seen
so
that.
I
That
made
is so
him,
cool.
I made a Sound Blaster. I made a Megatron. I made a Starscream. I'm working on Shockwave, and then I got this dude.
Oh, nice. Acid Storm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you said you made Sound Blaster? Can I see it?
Yeah, you want to see Sound Blaster?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let me grab
it. I like some Transformers repaints that they pretend are other characters. Sound Blaster and Twin Cast, I'm a big fan of.
Forgot about Twin Cast.
Man.
Fuck yeah. That is so cool.
Right. Yeah. So pretty much in the same theme.
That is so.
So I love it. Painted the boots, chromed them up. You know, so these guys, awesome. they just pal around together.
Yeah, I love it. That's fantastic.
That is. Yeah, I've never seen those before. That's really cool.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I just buy the reaction figures, and then I just separate them. You know, you just crack the torso, and just everything kind of pulls apart. Take a Dremel, cut the arms off, and then I just take the Battle Android Trooper arms, and I chrome from the sleeve down.
Yeah.
This one's not magnets. I have some that are magnets, right? So I can take the arms off.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I just kind of repaint as needed and slap them together.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. Custom bats, you know, because you're a big fan, Brian. So am I.
Oh, yeah. So. Yeah. I've done 3 custom bats. I did I didn't think I'd be able to afford the Neo or the
Nano.
Thank you. The Nano bat. So I did a custom one of those using the 25th anniversary buck.
And then you did a classified version.
And then I did a classified version. I don't know where that is. It would take me forever to find it on this wall. There it is.
Weren't you inspired to do that one when Ryan Sweeney was on the show?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're talking that guy.
Yeah, I have a couple
Yeah.
of those
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
custom. So
Mhm.
I did like a neon green because I couldn't replicate the translucent parts at the time, or still can't. And then yeah, it's a double-sided carded custom.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I got a
Yeah.
Red Shadows Battle Android Trooper.
Nice.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I just G'd that guy up. But toy hacks, right?
Yeah.
Not that hard to make.
And then yes, then I did the uh
Yeah, when Ryan Sweeney was on the show, the conversation, and Brian's like, all right, I'm gonna do a classified nano bat. I'm like, ah,
yeah, and there
nice.
it is.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that post when you did them.
Yeah, because yeah, didn't you unbox a bat or something on that show? And yeah, I don't have a classified bat, so yeah, I don't care that much. But when I saw that custom, I'm like, well, now I like it more.
Yeah. No, I'm tempted to get another one and do a Constructicon bat.
What are you
Yeah.
waiting on? Go for it.
Because I don't like doing 6-inch customs.
Yeah.
He's slowly coming around on it.
When Classified first came out, my wife got me all of Wave 1 and Wave 2 at the same time, and immediately I was just repainting them.
Yeah.
Immediately, like the Scarlet, the Duke, they came first, like right off the bat.
I like the class. I love the classified line, and I like that early stuff. I don't need it to match vintage stuff. The first classified Scarlet is my favorite Scarlet figure ever released. I've done nothing to it except add the Arashikage on her gauntlet, and but yeah, I could see where people have hangups with it, but right now I'm on a kick where I'm doing classified customs. At some point, I'll get tired of that, and I'll go back to 3 3/4 inch customs.
I made one into a Coral, which I really like that.
I think I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, I G'd up that Coral.
That
The only thing about painting on 6-inch figures is like it's not the same kind of control and meticulous nature. It's very much just like
it's time consuming. I mean, even with the airbrush, because
but they're so much bigger. Like,
yeah, it's like, yeah.
I don't know. I like being very, very slow and very detailed on 4-inch figures. And the 6-inch figures, it's almost like painting a vehicle. Just blah.
Because I've been doing the classified customs, I will admit there's a couple that I've recently finished that I haven't taken pictures of yet, but some of them I'm like, this is tedious as hell. But
that's one of the reasons it's like it took me a couple days to do that bat custom because it's like I can't paint that long.
Yeah, it's a lot more painting, but to me it feels very like 3rd grade, like very elementary. Like your figure's this big versus that. It's just I don't know. It's
I feel you. I hear you.
Juvenile. I kind of want to say it's a little more juvenile. But
I hear you.
Whatever. I paint vehicles with rattle can, like so. I mean, I'm not really one to talk.
Wow. All right. I think that's about all we got for this particular episode. Thanks for watching. Please do all that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what your favorite version of the HISS tank is. Do you have a custom HISS tank that you've done? Put a link in the descriptions. I do try and get that.
Yeah, let's see more. Let's see more custom HISS tanks.
Yeah. So put a link in your comment if you've got a custom HISS tank that you want to show us. And stay tuned because I do believe that JD and I are going to join Chad again on his Neon at Night podcast. Is that next week or the week after?
November 20th.
November 20th. Okay, there you go. So November 20th. JD,
yeah, because next week they have Kirk Bazigian on their show, and I am when I saw that announcement, I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. So I'd love to talk to that guy, but
yeah, absolutely. So stay tuned for that. And then JD and I will always have more episodes of General Geekery coming up. And then I'm getting my Megatron HISS tank tomorrow, so I should be doing a review of that at some point as well. And anytime I get any ideas for tutorials, tips, and tricks, I do put those up here on this channel. So check those out as well. And as always, thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.